Get ready for the next battle, ladies and gentlemen, say them ceremonies in between. My name is SPF Dark, and we're coming at you live here at Dapple Productions to bring you yet another edition of Squid Junction. But before we get to your first match of the night, I am joined by a very good friend of mine here today.
Hello, I am Topic. I'm doing great. So completely off topic, but I just played I'm starting up my Chrono Trigger for the first time. It's really good. That's it.
Yes, the beloved RPG Chrono Trigger. I've been meaning to get to that, but I don't want to take things too off topic here because we're not here to talk about any other game besides the game we're here to play today, which is Splatoon 3. And the first matchup for tonight of our 97th Squid Junction is going to be Scooby-Doo Ultras versus Booyah Bay.
I see. Typically in Splatoon, you can very easily find three distinctions of teams, right? Everyone knows this. Your first team, as example right here, Booyah Bay, which is, a very Splatoon-themed team name, Booyah Bomb, the Booyah button, makes sense. The second one is a bit more creative, where it's semi-related, but it's just a good team name that also works. And then you got the third type. Scooby-Doo Ultras is example of the third type.
Yeah, I was looking at the preview too. I was like, who were we commentating over for this first match here? And Scooby-Doo Ultras as a team name really does make me laugh. And there's never a day where I go by and hear a new team name I'm not gonna be not amazed by some of the zaniness, for the lack of a better term, for some of these team names.
Yeah, well, both these teams are going to find a way to see which team name's better. I know my pick, but I decided on the field as we go to game number 1. Zones on Mahi, which was actually just featured on Gommel earlier today. So, hey, if you're coming from that stream, we got the same thing. We got even more coming for seconds.
Yeah, I mean, the only mode that gets played on Mahi is zones, so really this is gonna be the only time you will ever see Mahi get used to some extent. Even then, some people are still ill-fated towards it or ill-feeling towards it. But no, this map at the beginning is very small, it's very tight, very cramped. So a lot of the early fighting is be going to try and control the zone for the first 40 points until the water level drops, the map opens up, and then things can start really kicking up. That's when your plays can actually start happening with a little bit more wiggle room without too much risk.
Yeah, and I think to add on to that, a lot of the map, especially, well, it doesn't really matter when, but before and after the water level drops, it's very skirmish heavy. And what I mean by that is, I don't want to say it's open, because it kind of is, but not really. But for the most part, it's you'll have your midliners or your weapons, your frontliners. With some of them, you'll have your 52s, your splashes, your splatter shots, your dualies, your carbon roller. That's something really good to go. You'll have these weapons that can really use their mobility to their advantage, and especially on zones, which has a little bit of cover, not a lot, but having a little bit of cover is very, very helpful for them, especially against especially on a map like this where I wouldn't be surprised if we see Explo is one of Explo's best map modes. Of course, Charger, mainly Pen has been, I don't want to say it's been falling off, but it's been a lot less omnipresent as of recently.
Yeah, I think as time goes on, and especially with the latest update, adding a bunch of new weapons that could potentially deal against a pencil as of lately, people have been figuring out how to actually properly play against it. Not to say that people could have probably played against beforehand, but because pencil being pencil, there's really only so much you can do in the first place. But with added new tools and as more game knowledge has been passed along on how to actually find pencil, it's really interesting to see how it's still consistently seen as a very solid pick, but it is, as you said before, as omnipresent as it used to be, and I actually kind of enjoy that. Especially as the game goes on, we don't really have any like sight of when the next, if there's gonna be a next content drop either, or if there will be what the time it is for the next game would potentially be. Because for all we know, this could very well be the last like major update we see this game, and we're gonna be stuck with this unless like bearing like one or two minor like a bounce adjustments later on down the road, which we don't really have an idea for. But no, but pencil, I agree with you that we could see here, but it's very hard to tell exactly what it could be. I mean, a lot of the new weapon kits as well is like, I'm keeping an eye on like a lot of things. It's still very hard to say exactly which one of the new weapon types that are viable anyways can actually like make a sustainable impact as on plays.
Okay, so from my perspective, because I want to say there's a couple I've been seeing a lot, and I think since I guess let's take on the topic of pencil. I forgot the name of it because okay, side note, the naming conventions are so weird. I'm not used to it. It's like, it's the only one I remember is the Twinkles Doolies, because people call them the Twink Doolies, and that's the only reason why I remember those ones. That's literally it. So, what else? Sorry, I got off track. But yeah, I've been seeing a lot of the new Splash, the new Rapid Blaster. I believe that one has cooler suction bomb, I want to say, something like that, if I recall. Yeah. The new Big Swig with splashdown. I won't say torpedo, but that doesn't matter. Both these teams already gained number one. You can see that actually a new one, the Glamour Splatter Shot with, I believe, Kraken. And hey, I called it. They're the Twink Doolies.
Yeah, the Twink Doolies coming out of this action. I'm actually very excited to see how these single Doolies are going to be playing out here. But already we see one player get picked out, a 1-for-1 trade, 2 down from either side. Scooby-Doo Ultras add a bit of a back foot here as Booyah Baby had a very solid opening here, playing it slow and steady to try and make sure they can maintain hold of the zone as they are sticking away at those points.
Yeah, and if you look at Scooby-Doo's comp, it's very defensive oriented with, of course, the Doolies having a bubble plus pencil. They really can try to, back up a little bit, but not for long, as Booyah Base taking a fight to them with this again, with their very aggressive comp, with the Slosher, with the Kraken Shot, with the Blaster. They can just be in the face of Booyah Bomb every day. Plus, not to mention, Bamboo? Okay.
Yeah, I was like very eager to see exactly how this band was going to be used, and I mean it's been very effective considering the fact that Scooby-Doo Ultras has a very solid opening on their side. 47 points remaining on their first hold within the first minute of this game. A very good job as Booyah Bay is now trying to actually lock them out here, playing whatever they can to see if they can slow them down at least a little bit to try and contest at least the very least. But the pay from Scooby-Doo Ultras is contesting the zone, but they do unfortunately go 3 down. Booyah Bay is holding it strong.
Booyah Base holding it strong, looking to advance now. Now, this would be a little bit dangerous for Scooby-Doo Ultras because of the pencil. Just because, yes, you do have ways to get out. You have the Kraken, you have the Whale. But if pencil gets set, it's going to be very, very hard for them to move. And so far, Scooby-Doo Ultras looking to find their way. And you see the Kraken being popped. You see the Whale forcing the pencil back. One member of Booyah Bay is going to go down, giving Scooby-Doo Ultras a chance to get in and get the zone. And they will get it eventually.
And man, oh man, Scooby-Doo Ultra's doing a very good job here holding it mid. They managed to retake the zone and already taken away those penalty points. Almost good as gone. Booyah Bay's playing it slow and steady here, but they need to make a move soon. Those penalty points are as good as gone. And right here, a good play to the Snapper here, gets the Blaster, moving in quickly to try and see if they can get a second pick, cause a distraction, but one member of Booyah Bay goes down as Scooby-Doo Ultras do go down too, as they are done with their penalty points. They're taken away with their actual points once again, and things are starting to look a little bit grim for them.
I mean, yeah, 6 points remaining. Nice shot there by the bucket. Able to get one, looking for even more, just swinging around. Able to get a second one. And Scooby-Doo Ultras turning this game on its head, getting the lead and getting a very good hold. 15 ticks remaining for them. Booyah Bay, it's kind of your last opportunity to kind of get in, because you have to go right now. That's not the start you're looking for. You see the Crab's going to get popped, but it's not going to be enough. And Scooby-Doo Ultras will come back, will hold on, and will win game number 1. Now, one of these players' names is 6-12-23 with a sad face. What happened on 6-12-23 to make a sad face? I'm very concerned.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that more now. I am also very concerned because with Splatoon specifically, you don't have the typical KDA lineup. It's your stats and assists are counted as one stat, and then your deaths are counted as a separate stat. So you only have two to really go off of. So to see 6, 12, 23. Unless that's a date, I'm just realizing now that
It is a
I think
date.
that's a
It is a date.
date.
It's a date. It's June 12th. June 12th, 20.
Yes. I think I might play a little bit too many video games these days. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that.
As I said, I want what happened on June 12th, 2023 to warrant to changing your name to the date. I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also very concerned as well, considering that's maybe if it's something of a personal date for you, why would you want to flaunt it out to the public and let the world know what's going on here? But no, we don't even have that much time to even talk about what that first match was like, as we're already moving on to the second match of this set here with
Ooh,
no
okay.
major swap outs. I'm also noticing as well.
No, there actually is one Boo Boo going to the new Stamper with Auto Bomb Booyah. So again, I like the change mainly because you have Booyah Bomb for Tower, and of course Stamper just being a good weapon in general, especially on this map to deal with the ledges right there, showing it off, getting one, and Booyah Bay with a good start 2v2. Actually, yeah, 2v2 situation now. So Wasara, really good start for them. It's turning to a more neutral situation, and actually, never mind. Scooby-Doo Ultra is kind of turning that on its head and getting the first points of the game.
Yeah, a good hold from Scooby-Doo Ultras. Even though they were down 2 in the very beginning of this game, they were able to hold it strong and actually flip the fight here against Booyah Bay. And already at that first checkpoint down, heading to that second checkpoint, the Stampers come into the backline, gets the tower rider, but no, 3 down from Booyah Bay, and Scooby-Doo Ultras is going to keep this ball going, especially with the crab take go. That second checkpoint, body's going to go as good as gone at this point with the Kraken on the backline as well.
Yeah, you got the Kraken, you got the bubble, that tower, or that checkpoint's good as gone. The Booyah Bomb's gonna come in, but not in time. So Scooby-Doo Ultra is able to very effectively and kind of easily get through that second checkpoint. But now, with Booyah Bay responding here, the question becomes, can they get this pressure off of their back? Because you see right here, Scooby-Doo Ultras, they are taking the fight to them because they really can. They have these 3 very aggressive weapons. They have the blaster, they have the shot, they have the bucket that just allows them to just be this oppressive front, as you see right here, huge, making a huge play, very titular right there, and just keeping themselves alive and keeping Scooby-Doo Ultra's presence in the front here.
Yeah, an important thing to know as well is that the tower is still very forward on the path along. It hasn't completely reset back to neutral just yet, only now being able to finally start taking its path towards neutral. But even then, Booyah Bay is still struggling to actually retake mid. There's still a lot of Scooby-Doo Ultra's presence here as they're on the right-hand side of the map, left side for Booyah Bay. But Kraken comes out, takes one down, going to see if they can get another one. Forcing a jump out. That's virtually a second pick here. Can they get the fourth? No. Ryu going back, but being collapsed by 3 members of Scooby-Doo Ultras as they still have control of mid here. What a fight there as Asura manages to clean it up and gets a second pick as that tower is already moving forward.
I mean, yeah, sir, showing some really clean movement. They're keeping themselves alive. Booyah Bay doing what they can to minimize damages here. But a lot of damage has been done already. 28 points on the board for Scooby-Doo Ultra. Still is none for Booyah Bay, but this might be the start of it. They have a 2-member up situation, forcing one of the members back. So now, if you're Booyah Bay, you have to take full advantage of this. You have the bubble. You have a Booyah Bomb. Okay, never mind. You don't have a Booyah Bomb, but the bubble's going to be used to at least try to get them towards this first checkpoint. They are able to get to it, but causing 2 members to go down here, this is a lot more contested than they would have liked to be.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky pickings for Booyah Bay as they're barely getting past that first checkpoint, heading to that second checkpoint. The Kraken is out by Astro to try and see if they can get a pick. Already scattered members of Booyah Bay, make sure that tower doesn't move as far forward as they can. Ding Strikes does cause enough distractions that the tower is still right where it is, but good pickings of Scooby-Doo Ultras does manage to push back Booyah Bay and retake the tower, and already trying to see if they can keep them down for the count as things are heading into the final minute 30 seconds of this game.
Yeah, 90 seconds remaining. Booyah. Oh, okay. A snipe from the air, I believe? Or no. Okay. Sorry, I misread that. But yeah, if you're Booyah Bay, you have to kind of find a way to keep yourself stabilized because you see right here, June 12th is just causing some damage here, getting another member down. And Scooby-Doo Ultras, they've been doing kind of the same game plan again and again and again. They've been making sure that they keep up the aggressions, able to get one there by the Doolies. Good job. But Scooby-Doo Ultras, they've been doing a really good job of just making sure that Booyah Bay cannot come together as a team. They're making sure that they keep themselves distracted, but not for long, as Scooby-Doo Ultra is going 3 members down, but a minute to go left in this game. So if you're Booyah Bay, you have a very tall mountain to climb because you have to get to that second checkpoint.
It's going to be a very hard fight to try and win this game here, but it's not necessarily impossible. The Booyah Bay does pop the Tactical and the Bubbler, but I don't think that Bubbler is going to make much use here, especially with that tower. They're just barely getting past it. You might have popped that a little bit too early, and Scooby-Doo Ultra's just backed up respect space and just playing it slow and steady. They have the advantage right now. They can play as defensive as they want to try and time it out to really strike right before overtime is happening, but no, 3 down with Scooby-Doo Ultras may make that game plan a little bit harder to deal with, as Booyah Bay is starting to get their own push going. Booyah Bomb being thrown to end the backline to try and scatter Scooby-Doo Ultras. That tower's heading to that second checkpoint where if they can get pushes, they can definitely have an overtime victory here.
I mean, yeah, that's what they're looking to do here. Able to get the bubble, get the strikes, get Ryu up there and cause some damage here. The points are ticking down. 3, 2, 1 point. 1 point separating these two teams. Booyah Bay, I think they just used what they did way too early. They used the bubble, they used the strikes, they used all their specials just a second too early. Then one member of Scooby-Doo Ultras was able to just find a way to keep themselves alive, find a way behind the backline, get to the tower, and just win the game outright. So, good fight by Booyah Bay, but I felt like for me, it took them way too long to get set up.
Yeah, Booyah Bay was definitely looking really good heading into that final push. They had all the tools they needed to actually make a successful winning push there, to the fact that they were only 1 point away, but it came with the cost that the reason why they lost is because they might pop a few of the specials a little bit too early. Some patience could have definitely have bought them enough time to actually fight it out properly on the tower to get that extra 1 point, extra 2 points to actually take that game. And Booyah Bay, even though the first game was a bit of a difficult game for you, the second one definitely closed the gap, and it definitely could have been an amazing set to watch out if you could have actually closed this game out.
Yeah, very unfortunate, but like I said during the set, I feel like Booyah Bay, they're doing a lot of responding to what Scooby-Doo Ultra just did the entire game, but it felt like they really couldn't get anything going for themselves. It felt like every time they tried, it was shut down almost immediately. But hey, Scooby-Doo Ultras, they just did their game plan. They won the game, so shout out to them.
Most definitely. Good job for Scooby-Doo Ultras for this game, taking a very solid 2 on your first set of the match. But because it is a 2-0 and we are technically in winner's bracket, we're still waiting on game 3 for some of the matches. So there is going to be a bit of a break before we head into our second round of our games here. So don't go anywhere just yet. Get your snacks, food, or water. Take the bathroom break. Do whatever you need as we be right back after this quick break.
Well, welcome back, everyone. Welcome to Squid Junction number 97. I am Topic, joined once again by Dark, and for you today, we have Skirk Weapon, please, also known as Gambling Addicts, versus Fireplace Consumer. And Dark, how you doing?
Oh, I'm great. I'm eager to hear exactly what your thoughts and opinions are with these team names to keep our trend from last match going.
Okay, so so if you were not here during the last set, I laid out three really basic kind of rules, or not rules, three groups you can put Splatoon team names in. You have Splatoon inspired, just a good name in general, and you have workshop ideas. You know, like, okay, you know like a shop class, like where you have like the wood scraps on the ground.
Yeah.
That's what these team names are. So that listen, no shade towards the players themselves, of course. Just on the names themselves, you know. Okay, yeah, that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's all you gotta say?
Yes, that's all I gotta say.
Well, with our amazingly, wonderfully team-named players here, our first match they're going to be playing up against is going to be Splat Zone's Umami Ruins, which is a map mode that I very much love seeing, watching, and playing. I am always a big fan of the dual zone map mode specifically.
I tolerate this map mode. Like, okay, I don't think it's bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are some god-awful map modes in this game. We all know that. Looking at you, Hammerhead Bridge, my beloved. But to me, I don't want. Okay, how do I explain? It's kind of that. I don't want to say inoffensive, because it's just like, I don't want to say it's basic either, but it does have like some uniqueness to it, especially with the double zones. But I feel like a lot of this map kind of how do I say? It kind of matters on how good you can lock the other team out, because you can go like right up to the enemy spawn. So it's very easy, in my opinion, to either lock someone out or get locked out.
Yeah, I will say that lockouts can be very can be something to be very wary here on this map mode specifically. But there are a few tools to try and work yourselves around that. Whether those tools are actually good or not is up to your own personal opinion or debate, but they're there and they exist at the very least, which is honestly better than what some of the other maps have to say for tools trying to get around a lot of scenarios here. But no, I think this map mode is very interesting, barring the lockouts, is for the fact that like you have the two zones which are very small, so they're easy to paint over. So you see a lot of constant back and forth of zone flipping from either side. So it's really going to be a lot of like trying to see how well you can control that middle platform that splits into the zones. I think that's like the key point of area here to try and play around and try to defend.
Yeah. To add on to that, a lot of this map really depends on if you can get the top mid, because not only does it give you kind of access to both zones and like basically the entire map, I would say it gives you access to the entire map. If you set up a backliner or like a longer range weapon on top of like in front of the pillow, you have easy access to the enemy silo, so you can like very easily contest any longer range weapons trying to attack you from there. But enough speculation, we're hopping straight into game number one, Umami Ruins. Oh, there we go.
Already we do see the return of a beloved weapon type here, as well as two new weapons coming out from either side. And I do believe I'm getting war flashback for seeing two missile weapons on the field right now.
Well, you see, it's not really flashbacks until it's 3 missiles plus shooters, or plus K-shot. That is war flashbacks, but so far, it's going to be a lot of fighting over mid. Like you said, both these zones are very small, very easy to paint over, and we're going to see another trade coming out for the tri-slot trade there. It looks like Skirk Weapon will be the first one to get control of the map, or control of the zones, but not for long, as Fireplace Consumer are going to be there, try to contest it. One member is going to go down to the other Splattershot Pro here, and Skirk Weapon, they they do have control, but it's not very secure as right now. It's just a lot of back and forth.
Yeah, both of these two teams haven't really solidified anything strong yet. Even though Squid Weapon has managed to get the zone held down a few times and managed to get a little bit of points on their side, they're constantly down one or two players, meaning Fireplace Consumer is able to keep coming back and at least stalling up the zone here. But as I say that, it seems that Fireplace Consumer has finally managed to get a solid hold and use the missiles and the Kraken and the Tactical to really take control of the mid here. But no, coming in hot with the new pro, they're able to just shut down that hold here for Fireplace Consumer and able to retake the zone almost immediately.
Yeah, Robot on the pro, very, very good weapon. Even without the missiles, just the main weapon itself is so consistent. It's just the biggest problem is it doesn't really paint much, neither for itself or its team. So it's very heavily reliant on the team that you have around it. And so far, Skirk Weapon's doing a good job of that with, of course, the pencil, with the 96, just having these weapons that are very, very heavily painting that allows Robot to kind of go in and see a pro v pro battle. See Archer be the one that wins that, but Skirk Weapon doing what they can, getting down to 37 points remaining. Fireplace Consumer able to get two members down, trying to force their way. It looks like they're going to do that quite easily.
Yeah, doing a good job keeping Fireplace Consumer occupied there. Squid Weapon was able to take their points all the way down to 29 remaining, which is a very solid hold within the first 2 minutes of this game. And now, even though Fireplace Consumer has a majority hold of mid here and looking to try and keep Squid Weapon down, Squid Weapon has a lot of time and a lot of tempo to try and actually get a proper push going, get the one pick they need to really move in and move forward to try and retake the zone here. But Fireplace Consumer is doing everything they can to keep them out, using Tactical, using Kraken, using Wavebreaker, using missiles, special after to keep Squid Weapon down. It's only with the DC that is unfortunate, not what you want to see.
Yeah, very unfortunate, and it was the 96 as well. Their biggest, honestly, their second biggest painter as well is going to be gone here. So now, Fireplace Consumer, you're looking pretty golden now. You always have a main advantage. It's just a matter of holding on, and it looks like they're going to use that to their advantage here as Pez Pop able to go in, get one, and just keep on going. Wipeout will end it, and Fireplace Consumer will win a very back and forth game until the very end with that DC.
Yeah, it was a bit of an unfortunate happening for Squid Weapon there, as they were actually looking very good on the first half of that game. And when Fireplace Consumer managed to take the zone and we're actually trying to lock him out here, I saw the beginnings and the makings of a retake starting to ignite there. But it is unfortunate that right when that push was going to happen, that Squid Weapon Plays lost one of their players, and that truly cost them that first game there. So I saw the potential there, but it's unfortunate with how things actually turned out.
I mean, yeah, it was like I said, it was a very, very back and forth game. It felt like both these teams, they had their game plan set, they had their win conditions, in mind the entire time. It was just unfortunate timing. That's really, it was unfortunate timing. But shout out to Fireplace Consumer. They saw the advantage. They went and they just kind of won the game. But that's just one game. You still have another one to play. So Squid Weapon, maybe restart the internet. But other than that, looks like we're gonna hop into game number 2, Rainmaker on Museum d'Alfonsino.
Yeah, Museum d'Alfonsino Rainmaker is in my opinion, it's a very fun map mode to play and watch. A lot of the fighting and a lot of the area controls are really going to be hanging around the 3 spinners on this map mode, the mid spinner and the 2 spinners on each of the players' team side. And getting control of those is really going to dictate a lot of your tempo and what you can and cannot do. And so I'm interested to see exactly what these teams are going to be trying to do here. I did like the weapon comp that Squid Weapon was pulling out here, and so I'm wondering if they'll stick with it or if they'll try and do something different this time around.
Oh, hold on. I think a little birdie has tweeted in my ear that they're actually getting a replay on that one, because the DC happened at 51. Okay. So I believe the DC rules are you have to have, I believe, 50 points or less, and with the over 2 or less than 230 remaining gets played out. The DC happened at 51 points with 2 minutes and 33 seconds remaining. So they were they had like half a second of time to get this replay. So hey, maybe you have a little bit of film now. You know what, kind of know what to expect here. So let's see, maybe if you're a Fireplace consumer, you can turn, or if you're Skirk Weapon, you can kind of turn this thing around.
Yeah, in the nick of time, saved by the bell, right before its DC rules would have applied, is they were saved graciously to try and do a run back here, and getting a run back they shall, as they're already out the gate trying to contest the zone here, either from either side. Fireplace consumer proving dominant on the painting side, but no, it is still anyone's game here. Both sides being contested by either team. Skirk Weapon plays playing it slow and steady, desperately trying to build whatever switches they can, tactical or online, to try and get a final solid push going in, but no, 2 down from either side. It is still anyone's game.
I mean, yeah, just a consistent back and forth here. We're gonna see Fireplace consumer able to get one, but losing the zone here to Skirk Weapon. Please, we love screen. But yeah, we're gonna see still a lot of fighting. 3 points on the board. Robot able to get 1, able to get 2. The Kraken by Pezpop at the last second, able to pick up a pick there. But so far, it's just a minute into the game, only 3 points have been scored so far.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the dichotomy of this map mode specifically. The maps are so small that any kind of paint will easily disrupt the counter on any of the zones here. So it's going to be, you have to have a really solid hold on mid of this middle platform here to try actually get a push going here. And that's exactly what Fireplace Consumer did. They got 3 down, a delayed wipeout, and now they're going to be ones to finally actually take away a good chunk of points here. But Missiles comes in, disrupts it, and takes the zone as Fireplace Consumer was forced to back out, sending their own missiles in response.
I mean, yeah, you popped the missiles, just kind of try to neutralize zone there. You're able to do that. You're taking the lead, and now maybe Skirk Weapon has the opportunity here to push up. You see the screen coming out. The bucket's going to go down as well. So Fireplace Consumer doing a good job of kind of responding to that. You see the Kraken coming out. You see they have a cooler at the ready. The coolers pop. You're going to see the blaster here. Nice direct there. Able to keep themselves alive and get one. Popping the weight break, trying to keep themselves alive again. Able to get another one, but Skirk Weapon still fighting, even though there are 2 members down. Another one. Okay, Nokia. Go off. You know what? The foes are destructible. Why not the players as well? As able to get a 3 or 4 man kill streak though. Getting a quad kill streak though. So hey, Fireplace Consumer showing a lot of fight here.
Oh, my old bread and butter range blaster gaming is what I like to call here, as Fireplace Consumer has a solid hold, slowly closing the distance between lead from Skirk Weapon please here, but unfortunately Skirk Weapon is able to at least contest the zone at least a little bit to try and slow down their momentum here, but Fireplace Consumer is still holding strong here in mid. It's been a bit of a tight case to try and maintain the zone long enough that way they can switch the lead, and they do switch lead before Skirk Weapon can actually maintain one of the zones to contest it. And man, oh man, it's just a bloodbath from either side. It's constant back and forth specials, picks being thrown out. It is utter mayhem from any of these teams.
Yeah, utter mayhem indeed, but ultimately just being kind of a stalemate at this point. But Fireplace Consumer able to break that stalemate and kind of get points on the board and get to scoring. But Skirk Weapon, they're not that far behind. You see they rhythm special, they're close to it. They have a cooler, they're close to missiles, they're close to Kraken, and maybe they can do something with that. Fireplace Consumer popping a cooler of their own in response, but the timer is still ticking. 14 seconds remaining. This 96 able to get 1, looking for even more. Skirk Weapon able to neutralize the zone for a second there. 2 members of their team going down. Archer going in, not quite able to get the pencil. Great job by Skirk Weapon, just keeping themselves alive. Not quite, or yeah, still keeping themselves alive despite the brush and the blaster being there. So Skirk Weapon, a minute to go left in this game, but still, they are looking very, very strong here.
Yeah, I mean, with a 38-point differential, a 38-point differential between these 2 teams, Skirk Weapon plays has a bit of a mouth to try and chew through in order if they want to win this game here. Fireplace Consumer did an extraordinary job holding it for as long as they did, but now they have some time to try and play with to try and make sure they can solid out to get a 1 solid zone flip here. Because in order to win this game here, they don't necessarily need to keep both zones controlled under the name. They just need to make sure one of the zones is contested long enough if they still have lead here. But with that timer ticking down, more and more time has been passed. That means Skirk Weapon can actually run away with the lead here if Fireplace Consumer isn't too careful here. 30 seconds remaining. Skirk Weapon is building a bit of momentum, but they lose control. Fireplace Consumer is still in the lead here.
Yeah, they're still in the lead, though. 11 points separating these two teams. Squid Weapon doing what they can to fight back and dig themselves out of the hole. 10 ticks from, or 10 seconds remaining. Squid Weapon able to get both the zones. They have a clear at the ready, but Pass Pop with the brush. Able to get one, able to get two, able to get the triple. Oh, baby, a triple, a quad. Make it 5. A little bit of icing on a cake plus a cherry on top. Fireplace Consumer able to hold on and fight through Skirk Weapon Please's defense and win a very, very close game number 1.
Oh man. Just when you think things are starting to look good for Skirk Weapon Please, Fireplace Consumer comes in with the last minute late game penta to ruin the dreams of Skirk Weapon Please and just seal the deal right then and there. But finally, with no DCs this time around, Fireplace Consumer can be officially declared the winner of that first set of this match here. And man, oh man, what an entertaining game it was regardless of the outcome.
I mean, yeah, we saw a very back and forth. You see how even these two teams are, just blow for blow. For a lot of the games, I'm sure that first minute, it was a stalemate where only, 3 points were scored the entire minute. So it was very even, but we're going to see how their game plans kind of change as we go from a very, I don't say stally mode, but a very stationary mode in zones to a very, very up-tempo, very fast mode as we go to Rainmaker on Museum d'Alfonsino.
Yeah, now headed to Museum d'Alfonsino with the Rainmaker for sure this time. To reiterate some of my points from beforehand, the 3 spinners here is really going to be a lot of what these two teams are really trying playing around, and what it takes a lot of what these two teams can and cannot do. So it'll be very interesting to see if there's going to be any major changes to Skirk Weapon Play specifically, if they want to try and change up their strategy this time around against Fireplace Consumer. Having 2 games already in this matchup knowledge to try and figure out exactly what makes Fireplace Consumer take to see if they can pull out anything to counteract what they've been doing so far is going to be the thing to try and see if they actually adjust to with at least their weapons.
I mean, I could see it, but then again, like I said earlier, it was very back and forth. Even if they don't switch up their weapons, I think a couple plays going their way would be very, very helpful, because I felt like for most of the match, they kept eyes on a lot of the frontliner, or the main frontliner, Pez Pop, the brush, on for Fireplace Consumer. But we're going to see here as a lot of changes coming out for this for Skirk Weapon, going with a Forge Pro, a Vanilla Stamper, and a Vanilla Dewey, so very different.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by a lot of the regression to these weapon kits from their weapon types. We have a lot of vanillas on Skirk Weapon side here, and I'm curious exactly what the reasoning may be and how they want to try and use these tried and true weapon types for their kits specifically here. But already Skirk Weapon Please members going in on the deep end to try and see if they can take away with a backline pick, but unfortunately gets picked off almost immediately. And Crabstick being tough to try and save it, but I think that's going to be instantly popped down as Booyah Bomb does come out, but it's only going to delay the inevitable as that Rainmaker is going to go around on towards the wrap. And with so much area in Fireplace Consumer's favor, they're going to be able to take that first checkpoint without it. No! A suction ball from out of nowhere halts the push!
Yeah, Robot able to play a little bit of hero ball there, just making sure that Fireplace Consumer cannot get that first checkpoint unscathed. And actually, that did really come in clutch for Skirk Weapon Please, because stopping that Rainmaker stopped their momentum, so that allowed Skirk Weapon to kind of regain themselves for a bit here. Get pushed up their own side. There's the Booyah Bomb coming off. You see the dualies are up there as well, trying to cause some damage. One is going to go down there. They see Archer. They're managing to jump out. Dualies going to go down for Skirk Weapon, so Solus here has to try to go for the checkpoint, able to just barely get it through the Kraken, but Pez Pop in exchange gets 3 members with the Kraken.
Yeah, it's unclear whether that's worthy trade or not. We're about to see exactly if that is. Here as Fireplace Consumer picks up the Rainmaker, is already moving forward, but we see the Octopus coming on the back line. Not the Octopus, the Stamper coming in on the back line to try and get it picked up, but immediately gets picked off as 2 members remaining from Skirk Weapon Please to try to defend this checkpoint. I do believe that they can get this checkpoint without too many issues, unless we see the Booyah Bomb once again on top of the suction bomb, stops that Rainmaker, drops it immediately, and stops the push before they can get that checkpoint.
Ooh, Okay, I see you, Nokia. Just the jump in direct. There's another one. Why not make it more? Not quite able to, but getting a lot of damage off to keep Fireplace Consumer in there. You see the Kraken for a bit of defense, just sitting on the checkpoint, able to make sure Fireplace Consumer is able to break through that. But now comes the real, I would say, hardship for Fireplace Consumer is keeping this momentum up and making sure you get the Rainmaker. There we go, and they're able to get the 38 points, which is pretty far into the plat of Skirk Weapon Please. But now the question is, can they keep this up? Can they go even further? Solace here just trying to do some damage here, make sure the pencil cannot stay in one place and farm for cooler, but they are able to get it and keep Fireplace Consumer in the plat of Skirk Weapon.
Yeah, very good job here from both of these two teams, just being able to hold the areas that they have currently in control here. But Squid Weapons is slowly regaining their spinner at the very least, going on the defense. The blaster goes down before going down to one of their own members. It's constant back and forth trades, pickings, and just fights from either side. But the Rainmaker being popped for Fireplace Consumer means that they're able to pick the Rainmaker once again and keep this pressure going, keep this momentum going on their side. And we see Squid Weapons is doing everything they can to try and slow them down, but it may not be enough. With only 1 minute 45 seconds remaining, things are starting to look grim for them.
I mean, yeah, the Kraken able to do something there and make sure the Rainmaker cannot get that far up. And Skirk Weapon Please doing what they can to kind of capitalize on that and making sure they get numbers of Fireplace Consumer out here. But now the question becomes, they have about 1.5 minutes to go. Can you keep this up? Can you get a main advantage, and can you sustain that? Can you get more points? Because there's only 20 points separating these two teams, which seems like a lot, but on this map in particular, 20 points is not that far of a distance. So can you make sure you keep Fireplace Consumer back? Though Pass Pop has something to say about it, says no and shuts that down. Is they able to find another one? But still, making sure that Skirk Weapon Please cannot get a full push going.
Yeah, with only 55 seconds remaining, supposed to being used left and right from Skirk Weapon Please. They're definitely want to try and make sure they can get a pick off anyone from Fireplace Consumer's side to try and make sure they can get a solid push going. And with 2 down on the side, they look like they could potentially try and break away here, but no, the pencil forces that Rainmaker to slow down, pushing them off the spinner and forcing them to take a rat, buying them more time for the entire team to regroup here and this final push here. And I do believe this might be the final team fight here from both of these two teams to try and seal the deal for the game here. Skirk Weapon Please needs to make sure that Rainmaker stays alive, and we had the final 20 seconds of this game.
I mean, at 20 seconds, but hey, talk about the commentator curse. Rainmaker's gonna go down there, but Skirk Weapon Please able to pop it immediately, but it's gonna go down once again. 13 seconds remaining. Fireplace Consumer, all hands on deck, making sure this Rainmaker does not get through. But the drop in by Solace, able to get one pass. Pop's gonna be there, gonna stall it out, but it's not gonna work. As we're gonna see Skirk Weapon Please now in overtime. They have to play a little bit careful here and make sure the Rainmaker does not go down there, making their way forward. One's gonna go down, 1-for-1 trade. They're gonna go for it. It's not gonna be far enough, and Fireplace Consumer will shut that down and take another game, and will take the set 2-0.
Yeah, I saw the reasoning and the vision for that final push there to make a last-ditch effort breakaway to just squeeze out those final points there. But the thing is to remember with Rainmaker and overtime is that the overtime counter is solely dependent on the Rainmaker counter. So picking up right as overtime gets called, that means you have a full minute to try and get those points before the Rainmaker inevitably explodes. So I think they could have actually played it a bit more slower there to try and use up as much time as they can from that 50-second timer remaining with the Rainmaker to try and win that game there. But being a little bit overzealous there, I think that costed them the game there.
Yeah, it was it felt like the push, I felt like it was kind of preemptive. I felt like they got one up. It felt like they were just trying to get something going while not trying to get something good, if that makes sense. Like it felt rushed, is the best way I could put it.
Yeah, like I said, I completely saw the vision, and I get at least somewhat of the reason why that push happened and the way it ended the way it did. But I think that's what a lot of people like don't really recognize with Rainmaker specifically, is that Rainmaker actually has is tied with the second longest overtime timer with their modes. The only one that actually beats Rainmaker in terms of time amount is Clamblitz, which I don't know how many I don't know how many of you know, but if you hit overtime on Clamblitz with 0-0 on both sides, you get an additional 5 minutes of overtime to try and score one power clam. which
Yeah.
is the longest overtime timer here.
You know what? We love our 10-minute Clan Blitz game. Anyone who
Yeah.
says they don't is a fake and a fraud.
But with that being said and done, 2-0 in favor of Fireplace Consumer. What a good showing that was. We do have a quick break here as we get our next match going, so don't go anywhere just yet. I hope you have everything you want next to you, because we'll have it showing. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Splatoon Stronghold, a stronghold for competitive Splatoon, providing resources to long-timers and newcomers alike. If you're new to the competitive scene or still figuring out how to join, we have a getting started guide and plenty of other resources to help you in your journey. If you are a seasoned veteran, we still have plenty to offer. You can find and join tournaments as well as participate in our Captain Forum and find free agents and teams. Our mission is to make competitive.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, in between. My name is SPF Dark. I'm here with Topic, and you're here with our third round of Squid Junction 97, Apex versus Blanks.
Here we are in semifinals. You know, we're kind of deep in this tourney. You know, gonna see who, and we're actually in best of 5. So you know, a little bit longer of a set, a little bit longer of a. You know, maybe a better opportunity to kind of get to know these teams, a better opportunity to see what they have in store for us.
First thing in store for us, actually, is going to be Humpback Pump Track Rainmaker, a map mode that I, as a Blaster player myself, I absolutely love this map.
I mean, I don't blame you. I play buckets. I'm a bucket player. I tolerate this map. Like, I like it, but like, it's not my favorite. What you call it? I like Mako, but I forgot the name of it. I forgot the name of the map. Anyway, but yeah, I like this map. It's good. In my opinion, it's really good. It really allows like roller players, or rollers or like blasters to kind of do their thing, because you have all these ledges you have to work with. So it feels like, I don't say it's like their playground, but it feels like they can really do what they want, basically.
Yeah, this map terrain really caters towards buckets, blasters, rollers, and at most sharking type weapons, because you have a lot of like nooks and crannies, a lot of elevation to play around. There's just the terrain just really caters towards those weapon types, which I really enjoy. And so I'm eager to see exactly if these two teams will bring any, if at all, of those weapon types I've just mentioned here, or if we're going to see something like 3 shooters and the pencil that might be more tried and true, we should see here in the scene.
I mean, you never know. I mean, I feel like as of lately, I really haven't been seeing many not pencils. I've seen a lot of pencils, but I haven't really been seeing many triple shooters, especially on a map like this, especially on the Humpback, where you're like kind of encouraged not to play shooters because it's a little hard to get straight sight lines. So I mean, I won't say I'm in favor of. I would bet on there at least being like 1 or 2 buckets in the game.
Yeah, and I do think that is a safe bet as well. It's this map specifically, like I keep saying, it just really caters towards those weapon types. But the thing is with Rainmaker as well is that it's something I always kind of tend to forget is that there's two checkpoints here. They're both on the opposite side of the map. One's on the far right, which is the typical Rainmaker route that 90% of the teams go on, but there's one on the left-hand side, on top of those crates up the high ground, which can be more dangerous, but it can get you points quicker. So I'm interested to see exactly if any of these teams want to try and take that route here. But we see the team composition from either side. I'm a bit taken aback by the vanilla big swig here coming out on the side of Aphex.
Okay, I'm more intrigued about the dualies. I forgot their name,
Oops.
but I'm gonna call them they're like zebras to me, like zebra stripes. I'm just call them the zebra dualies, make it easy. But it's like it's such a supportive, because okay, it's such a passive weapon. Like, what do you do? That's like you have point sensor screen, which I guess makes sense for screen. Dualies being a very, very good distraction weapon. At the same time, it's like it's really hard for you to affect something. But speaking of effect, just the hammer popping the Rainmaker, but you're getting a nice 3 members down. So good job by Aphex there. But I'm just a little like confused on the dualies, really.
I mean, clearly something is working with those dualies. If Blanks was able to get that first checkpoint down immediately, right out the gate, so Aphex is struggling to actually keep up with the tempo here from Blanks. The Rainmaker in the possession, by the way, as they're slowly pushing it forward, just keeping it here at the very least. We do see a jump off here, which I don't know if that's actually a good idea or not. As 3 just go down for Blanks, and Aphex has majority control over mid and able to pop that Rainmaker almost immediately.
Aphex trying to do what they can to go forward. You see Yoshi with the hammer, trying to throw it immediately. The vacuum's going to be there to provide some protection for the Rainmaker, able to do so, break that checkpoint, and having the elbow be pretty blue. So you're looking pretty good. The dudes come in, not quite able to get a pick there, and Aphex just keep themselves alive. But Zekrom going down to that blaster, who goes down in return to a bomb by the pro. So it's just very, very back and forth here.
Yeah, both the two teams are trading out very evenly here, and even though the Rainmaker is in Aphex's possession once again, Blanks is just able to run up and get that Rainmaker out of their hands and pick it up almost immediately at the very least. I mean, both these two teams are doing very, very well so far. There's only a 6-point differential right now between both of these two teams, so I'm very eager to see exactly how the remainder of this match is going to go out. But 1 goes down for Aphex, make that 2 goes down for Aphex. This is like a very good looking push here coming out from Blanks.
Ooh, yeah, but the back is able to at least minimize the damage there, and Blanks gonna go 3 members down, leaves the last members, forcing them to jump out. So Aphex is doing what they can to just kind of minimize the effects of Blanks' push here. So Aphex doing what they can, trying to repaint mid here, trying to get or find their way in, because they have gone through elbow before, so they know they can, but it's about how fiercely Blanks defends. It's about, can you, with your specials, because you have the hammer, you have the missiles, can you combine that to make it effective, using the back to say, hey, your crab is ineffective here, getting the lead back to 25. So not a lot of points separating these two teams, and Blanks is already on their way. They're hitting the ground running.
Yeah, it's a pendulum swing between these two teams here. Back and forth trade, back and forth flows. It is constantly being brought back and forth with this Rainmaker, and 3 down for Aphex here means that Blanks is able to try and clean it up at the very least, see what they can do. But both of these two teams are actually going to opt to play it slow and steady here in mid at the very least, as we head in the final minute of this game, in which Aphex, with the Rainmaker in possession, they can play a bit more slower and turtle up and stall out Blanks here.
I mean, yeah, the more time that runs off the clock, the better, because you see the Rainmaker has about 40-something seconds. Yeah, 40 seconds remaining exactly. So if you can get some time off the clock, which is exactly what they're doing, kind of turtling in that left side corner there. Unfortunately, Zekrom is going to go down to, I believe, a suction bomb from the dualies. Popping a crab as well, kind of forcing this Rainmaker there. They're kind of trapped in a really awkward position here, keeping themselves alive, but unfortunately, 2 are going to go down to the Rainmaker pop. Not what you want to see here. So if you're Aphex, it's about stalling at this point.
Yeah, you have 30 seconds time left on the timer here. You have the Rainmaker who just got picked up a full minute on that timer here. As long as this Rainmaker doesn't leave their hands from Apex's side, they have most certainly sealed the deal of the game and earned this first victory here. So it's up to Blanks to try and make a last-ditch effort, get all the picks they can, throw all the throws they need to try and get that Rainmaker out of here. But the Rainmaker dropping, I don't think that's what you want to do right now with these final 10 seconds. You're down 2 players. Blanks is gonna be able to pick up that Rainmaker almost immediately. That vac is not gonna do much here.
A mistake has been made. Blanks has been thrown a lifeline here. A minute to go left in this game. You have Cooler. So now the question becomes, can you find a way in? Yoshi, unfortunately, not quite able to pick up that kill. So the Rainmaker lives to see another day. The missile's trying to do something here, forcing them out once again. But listen, that's kind of good for Apex because clock is still running. 30 seconds remaining, but 3 members down on the side of Apex here. You see the Rainmaker kind of clear path, or they have to kind of paint their pathway in, popping the crab, trying to get in. You see the vac coming in, able to shut down that crab. Mainly a flank from Yoshi with the hammer, able to get one. Looking for even more. The hammer throw from far, not quite able to get it, but able to do just enough to paint their feet. The pro will finish it off, and Apex will hold on and will win game number 1.
A very good holding from Apex there. That could have spiraled out of control if they hadn't dropped that Rainmaker down to the lower ground in the first place, giving Blanks a bit of a shot to try and potentially get an overtime victory there. But no, they played it cool, they played it steady there, and they were able to clutch up the very end there, giving this first game to them. But man, oh man, that first game shows that we're in for one heck of a set with how back and forth it was.
But now we're gonna see if they can continue this momentum in a lot slower mode. Well, not slower. Yeah, slower. But not as fast as the mode as Rainmaker to go to game number 2. Ink Blot Tower Control, where I think of course the biggest hurdle on this map is that second checkpoint. Mainly because you're at a height disadvantage because Bat is right above you, and you have the Inkable to deal with as well, so it makes it hard to escape.
Yeah, I think the key here really is how well can you flush out enemy bats, because both of these two teams actually play high ground relatively well. We saw Apex at the very end there just utterly just raining down Hellfire onto Blanks at there when we in that overtime scenario here, and Blanks as well. They were able to use their height advantage as well on the early pushes from Apex to at least not let them run away with as many paints as they probably could have and ran away with here. So it's gonna be a question of how well both the two teams flush out bats.
Yeah, that's a big. I think I don't want to say bring back the big swig, but what's the new one called? The one with Splashdown.
Oh, I don't remember.
I forgot the name. But if they're dedicated to Big Swig, I could see that working, because one, you just paint ridiculous amount, like it's comical, and two, you have Splashdown kind of as a get off me too. But we're gonna see here, sticking with what they have. But Mondi going over to the Junior. Very interesting switch from them, going of course with the bubble, but on the side of Blanks, I think the only change is the custom blaster, and that's it.
Yeah, very interesting changes here nonetheless, though. Very interesting what the reasoning might be for these weapon changes here and how that's going to affect their strategies here. But Blanks already with the first opening pick on their side before going down a 1-for-1 trade from either side. But we see Tactical or Online for Apex here. It is their time to move and try to the advantage, as with whatever angle they have here. Bubbler coming in to at least cruise this tower to that first checkpoint without any contest whatsoever. Because what can you do to a Bubbler if you don't have the shredding power? Already at that first checkpoint here.
Yeah, the first checkpoint, they're gonna reach it, but not quite able to do a lot with it. Golda's crab. Unfortunately, the power of Ink Fact says no, you. And unfortunately, that will kind of cancel that out. But Blanks, though, able to at least recollect themselves, get to that tower, but with a flank from Yoshi with the hammer, a very terrifying sight if you were Blanks there, able to just come from around from that flank route and able to get a couple members down, and Aphex is doing as much as they can. They're able to get to that second checkpoint relatively unscathed here, as they're gonna break through it and keep on going.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of their success here was the fact that Aphex, they had 2-3 members already flushing out back before that tower could even get up this ramp here. And because of that, they're able to get that second checkpoint without too much issue. And even though they do go down to a wipeout, the damage has been done. Second checkpoint down to only 36 remaining on their side. Blanks has a lot of ground to cover if they want to try and contest that lead. And especially with one player going down almost immediately before the push can even start, it's not a good start here.
Yeah, not a good start. Only 98 points on the board here. 3 minutes to go left in this game. So still a lot of time to work with if you are Blank. So you have the splashdown at the ready. So you can kind of force a fight if you really want to. Yoshi with the flank though, trying to do what they can. Able to get one before going down. But once again, Golda's Crab. Very unfortunate. The power of Ink Fact is really pulling its weight here, kind of canceling out an entire special by itself. Not to mention just the big Squid player themselves able to get 2 members down. So Aphex just kind of keeping their momentum going, trying to keeping Blanks on their back foot here.
Yeah, I think Aphex here is actually showing a lot of the hidden value that VAC can actually provide. It may not be the best special, and it can be easily played around, but if you know the situation and you know the team comp that your enemy teams are most likely going to bring and what specials they've typically been bringing, Inkback can prove a lot of value. Like we see here once again, managing to cover the tower as it heads up the ramp once again. Aphex just keeping the momentum going on their side. Blank struggling to keep up, even though they have Tactical online. There's no more members of Blanks to be found as they keep getting picked off one by one. That lead is going to be extended even further by Aphex.
They're gonna keep on going 32-30 and gonna keep on chugging towards that final checkpoint. The bubble's gonna get shredded though, so that means other members gonna get shredded. A very aggressive bag along with the hammer, able to get 2 Yoshi on tower, and all the members of Apex just sitting on tower trying to force it through the checkpoint, able to do so. 10 points remaining. All 3 checkpoints are down. Blanks able to trying their best to kind of recollect themselves. Unfortunate bomb kill there for Blanks, but if you're Apex, you're looking really good here.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very dangerous part of the map, especially with any pushes here around this area. It's when a snowball can absolutely turn into an avalanche if you're not ready here. And Apex does not want to let this go just yet, but it seems like they're going to respect it. At the very least, we head in the final minute of this game, and we see the threatening aura of Yoshi on the back line with this Platano Wiper just biding their time, waiting for the right moment to strike with that heavy edit down almost immediately. This could be their time to actually come in and actually make a play going here. But Tactical online for Apex means the remainder of the team can actually hold on to their the ground here at the very least. We had to find 45 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I think a very underrated aspect of Affex's kind of game plan is that they've been getting a lot of bomb kills. I think I've seen like 4 or 5 just kills with their bomb. Unfortunate timing, by the way, if you're Yoshi. Yeah, you hate to see it. But yeah, Apex has been using a lot of bombs, so they're getting a lot of picks here. But Blank saying, hey, we got this. Pancake staying alive here. Blank's getting through that first checkpoint, but now comes the climb of the mountain. Can you make it up? Looks like the answer will be no for now. 10 seconds remaining. The Crab's gonna be out trying to clear out the tower, but Mondi's gonna be there just kind of sharking around, throwing bombs, keep themselves alive, able to do some damage, but not enough to get any picks there. But now the question becomes, can Blanks keep this up? 2v2, the roller though, the final pick of the game, able to keep Blanks at bay, and Aphex will take game number 2.
I mean, Aphex knows the game plans they want to try, and they're playing off of each other very well here. We see Yoshi constantly flanking, constantly causing distractions on the backline. We see Bonk using the big spec to be an utter mid-range menace, especially combining that with and countering out the crab take almost immediately with the ink back. It's been proving to be very effective against this team, and Blanks is struggling to keep up here. And now to get down 2 games, Blanks has to wonder what can they do to try and play around this team.
I mean, it's hard to say. Well, actually, it's not that hard, but I feel like every time they've tried to initiate a push, it's been with the crab. And I won't say every time, but a majority of the time, the crab has been canceled out by ink vac. So I think if your blanks, I don't want to say switch off entirely, because I think crab can be useful on the upcoming map mode zones on Barnacle and Dime. Yeah, sorry, I forgot the name for a second. It's just a matter of, can you get them to pop vac in a bad spot or at a bad time, and then just really execute off of that.
Yeah, I mean that was going to be one of the points I was actually going to bring up, is how the question Blanks is probably going to be asking, like, do they want to try and keep the crab tank, which could be very useful here on this map mode? And if they do want to keep the crab tank, what's going to be their game plan then to try and make sure to try and force out the ink vac before they pop crab tank? Because I know from these past two games, I know for a fact at this point, or I can say I know confidently at the very least, that Apex has been saving that ink vac every time that crab tank is going to be used. And if they don't see the crab tank, they're not going to use the ink vac. And the only way they'll use the ink vac without the crab tank is if they know the player with the crab tank is not alive for the current team fight or the current push here. So it's going to be up to Blanks to try and find out creative ways to force out the ink vac before they can use their crab tank, which that crab tank could actually be very impactful here for incoming team fights.
I mean, I think if I am Blanks, I'd say like the best thing you could possibly do is like come at the roller player from an angle, or like from the back lines to kind of get them off balance and like make them like pop vac out of like surprise, I would say, try to get them to use it in a really bad spot. But okay, I like the change. Going over to the Tetra dually is not a weapon we've seen a lot, especially in Splatoon 3 as a whole, and the only other change is gonna be a Pancake going over to the new Pro.
I'm very interested about this Tetra pick, because we know Tetra and Reslider and Spat Zones could actually do a lot of damage here, but the very important thing is that there's no crab tank for Apex to save the ink vac for, and already once that vac is ready, I know for a fact that they're going to be using that off of cooldown here. So Apex has already have a very solid hold here, keeping Blanks out for the count for a majority of this hold, already down 50 seconds or 50 points from the zone here. And even though we do see the big Squid go down here, Blanks moving in readily, moving in quickly to try and retake the zone here. They're immediately met with opposition and just keeping them down for the count.
I mean, Apex is just going. 30 ticks remaining in the first minute of the game. Blanks does have the missile. They do have the reset, able to pop it. Both of them able to recapture the zone here, but can they hold on to it is a real question. Oh, nice snipe there by Yoshi. 3 members of Blanks are going to go down there, so they did a good job, or Blanks did a good job of getting the zone, but it felt like they didn't get any area around the zone, so Apex just kind of backed up and went right back in.
I mean, they at the very least they bought themselves a little bit of extra time to try and get a really solid push going once again here, and especially with Tactical Online. Blanks can definitely go on aggressive without too many repercussions here, but Apex is really playing the range game, really just zoning them out as best they can, using the specials they have to just keep them out, or at the ready at the very least, so that whenever they do decide to push in, they can just keep them out almost immediately. Pancake on the right hand side to try and going for a backhand flank here is immediately met with opposition, as we see Yoshi coming in with the hammer, gets one, gets two here, but causes enough distraction for that. Blanks is able to retake the zone here, but it's not enough. Apex proves to be too strong as they take this a clean 3-0 against Blanks.
Yeah, very good game from I'm just impressed, really. It was just like they got in, they did what they needed to do, and they left. It just Apex, they just, I would say, kind of just took the bull by its horns, but they kind of feel like what they did during the game, they just kind of like had control of it. They lost for a second, but they just did not let go from there.
Yeah, no, one thing I'll say about Apex is that I really like their ability to just not take those few like bumps in their holds really too hard. They were able to just keep their cool and not really let it affect their gameplay, and knew exactly how to play those retakes on a lot of these holds, which I find, and it's probably what costed them a lot of their, what gave them a lot of their success here. And Blanks, they were, even though they didn't do well here in this set, they were able to actually keep up with the Apex, which I still find very admirable for what they've done against Apex at the very least, because Apex proved to be a very scary beast to fight against, and Blanks was actually, believe it or not, score not meant telling the story here. They were actually doing a very good job keeping up with Apex for the majority of this set.
Yeah, it felt like the first two games they were very back and forth. Especially game number one, that was very close. But like the first two were very back and forth, and then Apex was like, okay, taking the gloves off, let's go. And Blanks, they just couldn't hang with them. Like they got, like I said, they got control for a second, but once that second was up, Apex kind of got control, and they did not look back.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, that means Blanks will be heading into the losers bracket to try and fight for the alliance to stay alive in this tournament for a little bit longer here. And with that set being done relatively quickly, and we are waiting for our next set to be ready. So we will be heading to one more break for the end of our block here to get ready for our fourth game of the night. So don't go anywhere just yet. Use the restroom, get your snacks if you need them. We'll be right back after this break.
Splatoon Stronghold, a stronghold for competitive Splatoon, providing resources to long-timers and newcomers alike. If you're new to the competitive scene or still figuring out how to join, we have a getting started guide and plenty of other resources to help you in your journey. If you are a seasoned veteran, we still have plenty to offer. You can find and join tournaments as well as participate in our Captain Forum and find free agents and teams. Our mission is to make competitive Splatoon easily accessible to everyone. So what are you waiting for? Join the Splatoon Stronghold today! Splatoon Stronghold, a stronghold for competitive Splatoon, providing resources to long-timers and newcomers alike. If you're new to the competitive scene or still figuring out how to join, we have a getting started guide and plenty of other resources to help you in your journey. If you are a seasoned veteran, we still have plenty to offer. You can find and join tournaments as well as participate in our Captain Forum and find free agents and teams. Our mission is to make competitive Splatoon easily accessible to everyone. So what are you waiting for? Join the Splatoon Stronghold today!
Hello and welcome back everyone to Squid Junction number 97. I am Topic, joined once again by Dark, and for you today we have our winners finals where we have Aphex, a team we just saw with a very dominant game number 3 win versus Master, a team who we haven't seen yet, but they did 3-0 Fireplace Consumer to get here.
Yeah, I'm very, very much excited to see exactly what this winner's final is going to look like here between these two teams. We've seen Aphex already, as you just mentioned, Topic, and we've already previously seen Fireplace Consumer as well, who we've seen to be a very solid team. So to see Master beat out what we've already seen to be a very solid team already, I'm very much eager to see exactly how this set's going to play out here. And especially first off, we're running it back on Splat Zone's Umami Ruins.
I mean, yeah, like we talked about earlier in the bracket, you know, it's a 2-zone map, top mid, very, very important. You get top mid, I don't say you kind of win the game, but it makes it a lot easier to get your frontliners in. You get sight lines of silo. You can basically, I don't say you can, but you can pretty much get all the way up to the enemy base and kind of spawn camp them, because I don't say it's like easy to spawn camp, but it is easier than most maps to spawn camp on this map.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see here, and I think one thing to really watch out here, at least what we see from Aphex side here, considering what could potentially be very dangerous lockout scenarios, is Yoshi really playing super far forward and using those ledges right under your spawn to hide out and be just an annoying rat under, and really make Master's team coming in life just an utter nightmare to try and retake mid once again. I think that could be a very dangerous point here.
I mean, yeah, we saw in the last set, Yoshi for Aphex, they found a little puddle, they sat there, they were in the back lines, they painted up, they got hammer, and they just went to town for the most part. So now if you're Master, I think the biggest thing for you is just making sure that you keep watch of flanks. You keep watch of flanks, you keep watch of, you know, your east-west, and you're good to go.
Yeah, flanks is going to be the main thing to watch out here. It might get a bit hard here, considering just the utter nature of this map mode specifically, because you constantly have to watch both sides to make sure that they aren't getting taken, that just a sneaking Sultana Viper user swimming in the midst of the chaos while you're like maybe just focusing for a split second on the other zone there, could easily just come in from the back line and just do a lot of damage from a flank here. But the inverse could also be said for the flanking Sultana. It could be hard for them to actually get there in the first place. So it's very going to be an interesting thing to see here, and I'm wondering what Master's going to be bringing to the table as well.
I mean, I'm intrigued as well from what we saw, possibly some type of cooler weapon. They could be the 4th team we saw to bring the new Splattershot Pro for missiles, because why not? You know, side note, that's a very good weapon. I hate that it has missiles, because you know, if you play any type of solo queue, there's gonna be that one guy who's gonna have full special charge and just spam missiles, which is not fun, right? That guy is cringe. But like, I feel like overall it's very good, right, at its job. And I feel like that's kind of a common sentiment with most of the weapons in the what were the name drops that you use, like Barzushi, and what was the other one? Embers, yeah. I feel like I don't say all of them, but a lot of them kind of serve their purpose well.
Yeah, I mean, another thing considered, it is only now, 2.5 years into this game's life cycle where we're just getting a shooter weapon with missiles here, which kind of goes to show exactly why they've been kind of reluctant to give it a shooter weapon.
It's been 3 years.
Has it been 3 years?
Yeah, Splatoon 3 came out, 2022. It's basically 3 years.
Where or in a year 3, but that doesn't matter. Potato, potato, whatever, right? No, I'm already seeing right out the gate
Ooh.
a carbon roller coming out from the side of Apex here, which they haven't brought just yet, which is very intriguing.
Yeah, Carbon Roller and plus Mondi bringing back the junior we saw last game, beside of Master bringing Dread plus the T-Tech. Very interesting there. A lot of paint heavy comps. The Roller from Master able to get a flank and get one member down. So trying to do what they can. They have for Master, they have a very fight heavy comp, or because they have Roller, they have Dread, they have Shot, so they can like really get into these close quarters fights and win them.
And we're seeing a bit of an inverse from Apex's side here. Apex are usually the ones in this position being very much on the front forward aggression, just keeping their enemies down. But it is Apex who is struggling to keep up with the tempo here. Master bringing the zones all the way down to 66 points remaining off their initial hood before retaking the zone once again and taking it even further. Apex struggling to keep up with the momentum here, but 2 down, and the flanking Yoshi once again gets another. Can they get a triple here against the remaining member of Master? They do, and that's a wipeout, a good opening on their side.
Yeah, Apex kind of flipping the coin of fate in their favor. And now the question becomes, can they lock out Master? Can they keep them back? Because they usually have the Dread plus the Roller. Mondi going down to said Roller, popping the bow to keep themselves alive. But Yoshi's hammer says, nah, goes right through that bubble and gets the Roller down, giving Apex enough time to get the lead, but not enough time to hold on for much longer, as Master are still there and fighting back. As you see the T-Tech here getting 1, getting 2, the flank, able to get another triple kill, so shout out to them.
A 3-for-1 special for finally going down gives Master the opportunity to retake mid finally and get a good solid hold here, forcing Apex to regroup and try to get another push going on their side. No pushes online just yet, but they're slowly winning up before they get a solid push here. We do see Tactical go online, so Apex definitely go on the aggressive here, and Trizuka online once again here with the big bubbler, with the stamper before the wiper goes unfortunately go down. Lead has been swapped in the process of this, which is not a good sign. They really need to make sure that he at least possesses one of the zones long enough so they can retake here, but no, it's proven not to be enough as there's only 30 points remaining for Master before they take away this game.
Yeah, but Apex are not going to give up that easy. Here you see them just attacking both the zones, but Master just matching them blow for blow, able to at least stall them for a little bit longer here. We're about halfway through this game. It's still really close. Love Galore able to get 1, looking for even more, not quite able to get anything else. Actually, yes, able to get it with Dread just being Dread, able to get 2. The Zuka managing to keep their lives, so Master turned a bad situation to a very good one for them. Actually getting Yoshi down in the trade, so very good for them here.
Yeah, with Yoshi being down, that is a very good position Master wants to be. But 3 down goes down to the Zuka. A flip is exactly what you want to see here from Apex as they move in quickly, contest one zone, get the other zone in control, and now finally shooting away the penalty points once again before losing it very quickly. That's one thing I love about this map mode, specifically the zones flip constantly. And we're seeing that effect to this degree right now. Both these two teams are just constantly fighting over control of mid over these zones here, but if they solid hold by Apex here, they're finally able to push out at least most of Master's team here, at least back to their side of the map. But especially with 2 down once again, that is a stagger you don't want to see here.
Yeah, that's like you don't want to see Yoshi going and able to get the pencil, looking for even more. Another one, that's going to be another delayed wipeout for Master. Now Apex, they're through their penalty points. Now it's a question of, can they hold on? Can they make sure Master cannot get to zone in time? Roller going out once again, say, hey, hold this hammer for me, why don't you? Getting one with a direct shot. The Dreadringer keeping themselves alive. The lead's going to switch to the side of Apex, forcing them back. Now 15 seconds remaining. You see the strikes, you see they have the resider at the ready as well. Don't even need the resider yet to get the zone at least neutralized here, but Love Galore able to get one, looking for another one. The pencil keeping themselves alive for not for long. They're gonna go down as well, and Master have fought in their way back into zone. They have it controlled. They're trying to eat their penalty points, but there's only 40 seconds remaining in this game.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, this is a very scary situation for Apex here. 30 seconds remaining, but they instantly flip the zone, taking it back under control before Hotmaster takes it once again. Constantly showing this zone is easily swayed by any kind of momentum, any kind of pain whatsoever here. 20 seconds remaining. This is the final team fight of this game that will decide whether or not Apex can keep maintaining control and the status quo here. But no, Hotmaster just keeps it calm, keeps it steady, make sure that they have at least one zone on their side. But Apex manages to get both under control once again. Hotmaster forced to back up here, but there's still the T-Tech on mid. They get one, two goes down, the sniper comes out, the snap comes out, but it's not enough. Hotmaster has control of the zones and they take that first game.
That was very back and forth. Like it felt like both teams, they each had like a kind of window where they were in complete control, and then the other side got it and did the exact same thing. It was like ping pong basically. Like one team had zone, other team had zone. One team had zone, other team had zone. So very back and forth there.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly why I love this map mode here. I think it forces teams to focus a bit more on making sure you have proper area control and proper team fighting power here. Because if you're constantly down one player, down two players, you're in a lockout scenario, you're never gonna be able to contest the zone. But if you can actually at least hold your ground a little bit and make sure you can keep one of those zones like at least contested, things can be very much back and forth, and that's when things start really flying for any of these sides here. But Apex in the nick of time, they're just able to hold on, and it's just, oh man, both of these two teams it genuinely could have gone either way at the end there.
And luckily, if you are Apex, you did hold on to zone, you did fight back against Hotmaster's last hurrah, and you're able to win the game. But now, can you continue that momentum as you go to game number 2, Clan Blitz on Barnacle and Dime?
Oh, Clan Blitz. I think this is our first Clan Blitz we've seen so
It
far
is.
in our
It's been too long. It's been too long. Tell whoever makes the map list, make Clan Blitz every single map mode. Thank you.
Oh man, our first Clan Blitz appeal here, and it's winners finals as well. So we're genuinely going to be going blind here for Apex at the very least, and Hubmaster here, because we haven't seen Apex perform on Clan Blitz yet, so we really don't know what the strategy might be. So I don't think it'll be that much different from what they've been running so far here, is having one or two flankers with Yoshi and just being another minutes on the sides of this map. But it's genuinely just a very interesting. I like this map mode. I like it a lot.
Now, if you're Apex, I have a question. Do you think they bring back the Junior?
I think they do. Bubbler under the power clan basket can be very scary.
Well, it looks like yeah, they are going to bring back no changes from them from the side.
Ooh.
Sorry. Ooh, actually, a white double stamper, not double stamper, double Splatana. Not one I've seen a lot recently, but hey, it can work. You do have the decav with the bubble for that bit of defensive support, but looks like we're gonna have a bit of a sword fight as Hallmaster bringing their own wiper to the field.
Yeah, and both of the two teams break away here in mid, trying to see who's gonna get that first pick. First pick goes in favor of Apex as they knock you, get one, they get two, they get a third. That's 3 down for Hubmaster. Apex moving in quickly to try and retake and trying to take up as much space as they can. Love galore, trying to go behind to save their lives, but unfortunately gets chased down and just stopped before they can do anything major here. And now Apex having such a majority control of mid here. They're looking to try and get their own push going, especially that's a good opener there.
Yeah, good opener from Yoshi, looking for even more. Unfortunately, not quite able to get anything else, but causing a lot of attention to be drawn towards themselves. Unfortunately, not quite able to do a whole lot other than that. Now, Hubmaster with a good opportunity here. They do have cooler, but they don't have enough clams. They only have 10. They have enough for a power, but not a whole lot else. Yoshi saying to heck with that and just going straight for the decap, getting rid of a lot of their clam economy.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Clan Blitz special here. We're already a minute and a half in this game. There really hasn't been any major pushes going for either team, even though there's been 3 down, 2 down from both sides. It's very hard to actually get a proper push going here, but once you get something going, a lot of damage can be done at once here. So it's really going to be up to we're gonna be seeing who's gonna be the first one to break here, and it might be Apex has been slowly losing ground here, but one goes down for a Hub Master. Yoshi going, not Yoshi here, but we see the roller player here going on the backline to try and get a pick here before Yoshi finally comes in and claims up that fight.
I mean, yeah, Yoshi saying, hey, I'm the better wiper player and able to get one, but Master, they're in a decent, oh, not anymore. And they were in a good spot with how they were positioned, but not quite able to get any clams in was the real problem here as the Apex looking for even more. Yoshi getting a double kill, looking for the triple on the pencil, not quite able to get it as Love Galore is able to pick up that pick before going down themselves, and Master will collect themselves and possibly fight off Apex here for now, as we're about halfway through this game and no one gets to score.
Yeah, I mean, Apex does have a clan economy to support a big cash in here for their clams here, but it's still a question of can they actually break through here. Bubbler used a little bit too late here, unfortunately going down. Apex forced to respect the incoming players of Hot Master, giving them the space they need to try and make sure they don't completely lose everything on their hold here in mid here. Trizuka comes out, no, gets shut down immediately. That is a very good pick here. Tides are starting to swing in Hot Master's favor here as they're slowly pushing Apex back further and further.
Yeah, but you look at the clam economy. They only have 11 clams. That's one power clam and one extra, so not a whole lot to work with here. So if you're Hub Master, I think it's a matter of building up your clan economy there. Mondi able to find a trade, so a bad situation turned into a really decent one there. So now both of these teams once again looking for both a way to get in, and two, I think that their biggest problem right now, their clan economy is just non-existent at the moment.
Yeah, Hot Master has a decent sizing of clams here, but so does Apex. 1 minute 20 seconds remaining. Things are starting to be, the tension's starting to build up here. It's gonna be really who's gonna break first here. 2 down for Hot Master. Apex has a decent holding in mid, but Zekrom's gonna try and make a breakaway potentially here to at least get that power plant basket. No, they're not. They're just gonna try and escape with their lives to make sure they have a holding on mid. 1 minute remaining on this game. No one has scored yet. Things are gonna definitely start building up here.
I mean, listen, we talked about it earlier. A 10-minute clan blitz game. This might be it. As 45 seconds remaining, Rihanna's gonna go down there. Apex again looking for their way in to come out. 2 members of Hot Master going down looking for another one shot. There it is, able to get Love Galore in the nick of time. Apex will break the scoring barrier. 51 points on the board now. Hub Master, not a whole lot of time left. 30 seconds plus overtime to get in and get points going. Rihanna, though, nice pick there on the Mondi, but Mondi getting a trade of it. So again, 18 seconds, try to get something going here. Apex trying to do what they can to shut them down. The pencil force to jump away and keep their life to fight for another day. Love Galore able to get 1, 2, jumping right back in. That's a wipeout. 2 power clams. That's game. Hub Master, a little bit of suspense, I will say, but they were able to get in, get the picks, get the bubble up on the unthinkable ramp, and score, and just snatching victory away from Apex there.
I mean, what is there to say? Apex played it slow and steady for majority of that game, not only striking at the very final minute of that game to get a really decent, and I gotta say, a 51 point left remaining on the clan blitz on this map specifically is a very decent push on their end. But Hub Master didn't let that deter them at any way, shape, or form to the very end, using overtime as their key to victory here. They got the wipe out the end and just punched their way to victory, earning this set to a 1-1 scenario.
You know what that felt like to me? You know that one meme where it's like, oh yeah, you scored 51 points? Hold my beer. And they just went, they say, you know what? They got, what, 3 power clams, I believe? Something like that? Yeah. You got in 3 power clams plus extra. So Hub Master, again, took a little bit, you know, took a little longer than they would have liked, but they were able to, you know, collect their resources, pull them together, get a couple picks that lined up in their favor, and win the game. So now we're at least in game number 4 here, but get to game 4. they get to game number 3, which is going to be Splat Zones on Robo Ramen.
Yeah, I utterly adore this map. Robo Ramen is one of my favorite maps here, and especially Zone with Robo Ramen here. The zone is a bit, is relatively bigger than some of the other zone maps we play around with. But the thing that really makes this map shine for me is that underground flank to get around behind enemy lines. There, I think a lot of stuff can be done there, and especially on Apex sides. You know, we know Yoshi to be someone who flanks around a lot. Will probably try and use that to a lot of their best ability to really try and get in the back line of Master and just harass them as best as they can.
So we're gonna see here both the teams are raring to go. Apex going over to Yoshi going over to the Slosher. Very interesting from there. And from the side of Master, no changes from them, keeping what they got. Because hey, if it worked before, it worked again. But Bonk going over to the Kraken Roller. Not one you see very often here.
Yeah, Kraken Roller is definitely, and I genuinely mean, is definitely an interesting pick here. But I'm eager to see exactly what they can work with here. Even though Master has the first hold of the zone here, Kraken comes in with Bonk to try and see if they can get any pick whatsoever. But no, it is unfortunately wasted here as Master has a majority hold of mid here and is just keeping Apex out and down for the count for a decent hold.
I mean, yeah, Rihanna going in and getting another one with the charge slash at the last second here. Master getting it down to 53, 52 points remaining and still counting Apex. You look for a way here. Zekrom popping the cooler, trying to at least excite their team, get something going. Unfortunately, one member is going to go down here to Rihanna there with the decav and the strikes coming out as well. Master will win that strike war, able to get to 35 points, but Apex will get a couple of picks in their favor and will be able to get their first point of the game here.
Yeah, I mean, the damage has already been done by Master. 35 points remaining on their side. That's a 50-point differential currently standing right now, as if Apex can actually, if they can't contest this zone here. Master doing an extraordinarily well job to keep this zone faded here, but with the Tri-Strike, that's going to steal the fate as Master takes control of the zone once again, even though they go down one player. Apex doing the best they can to actually maintain whatever ground they had. They with 2 players down from Master, Apex just respawns almost immediately, retaking the zone just as fast as they lost it there.
I mean, yeah, Apex just fighting what they can. Love galore. You see the hammer coming out, trying to cause some mayhem. Able to get one, looking for even more. Not quite to get anything else, but able to get on the ramp of Apex, which is very, very important there. But the strikes alone from Yoshi, able to recapture the zone like it's absolutely nothing. Apex or Master going with strikes of their own, but they're going 2 members down here, so not going to be as effective. But still, Apex not quite paying attention to the zone here, as they had opportunity to recapture the zone, but Master took it from them.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of scattered play by Apex right now. I think Master's doing a very good job just keeping them scattered as best they can. I think that's going to be the key here for defeating Apex here. Master using all their tools they can to make sure that Apex can't play together as a group properly here. And with 3 down from Apex, Master is doing an extraordinary job and move up as far forward as they can and feel comfortable with here to try and stall out Apex for as long as they can.
I mean, yeah, they had these very aggressive comp with, of course, a double sword plus T-Tech. So they can kind of move very up fast, but you know that T-Tech was seeing a little bit of the light there, but staying away from that, they're able to keep themselves alive. And Apex trying to attack the zone here. Mondi going in with the Battle Junior, able to get one, backing up to kind of support the rest of their team here. Master, though, trying to at least keep it going, but Mondi just going in, getting one, looking for even more, forcing members of Master to drop down, going for just a straight up 1v1. Mondi able to win that. Unfortunately, Master will get the zone for just a second here.
Talk about our Battle Junior here. Monty's still alive throughout all of that encounter there, and Apex now has control of the zone once again. Those penalty points are slowly shrinking, and the lead has been slowly shrinking as well. There's only a 6-point differential here, so Apex has every possibility here to win out this game here, or at least take the lead right here, right now. But beautiful ink strikes from Master contests the zone and flips it back in their favor once again. Apex forced to respect the space area. 1 minute remaining, 6-point differential. This could still be anyone's game here.
I mean, yeah, minutes ago left in the game. in the game. Apex trying to eat through their penalty points. Hotmaster, you see them kind of all around the ledges here of the zone. There's Rihanna with the bubble. There's a hammer coming out from Love Galore, looking to get a little something going, forcing one member to jump out there, forcing Yoshi to jump out as well. So if you're Hotmaster, you're kind of in a good spot here, but not for very long. You can't rest now, as you have 45 seconds remaining. You know Apex gonna fight with everything that they got. That's a good start for them, able to get one member down and flipping the zone like it's absolutely nothing.
Apex is doing a very wonderful job here because they know what's at stake here. 2 players down from Hotmaster. Apex can definitely clean up shop here and retake their lead here and just keep Hotmaster down as long as they can. But the Kraken comes out, scatters one of the main members of Hotmaster as they do take the lead. 2 players down. Apex looking strong here to ride it out to the very end. The Bubbler comes out to try and make sure they have at least some area to paint here, but 10 seconds remaining. Hotmaster has no players on the board here to trade them a zone and take a time. Apex is doing whatever they can to keep control here. But Hotmaster not being able to contest it and take the zone before time is called, unfortunately loses that game.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Hotmaster because it felt like they had a lot of control and a lot of the zone in their favor for most of the game, but Apex, they just kept sticking around, they kept fighting, and they kept going, and eventually that won them the game. And Dark, do you watch sports by any chance?
I do not.
Okay, I was gonna make a reference, but you wouldn't get it, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, if you're Apex, you're feeling pretty good right now because, you know, you just came back, you had a long, hard-fought game, but now we're gonna see if they could. You have a map that kind of favors, you know, the weapons you've been playing as we go to game number 4, Rainmaker on Humpback Pump Track.
Yeah, sitting at match point here, Apex is definitely feeling pretty good about themselves. Hotmaster has a bit of a conversation to have with themselves to try and figure out exactly how they want to take this 4th game here against Apex. Apex has shown time and time again that they will wait it out as long as they can to find that perfect opportunity to strike back and strike hard. And they, especially with that last game, they show that they have every card in the hand to play to actually secure the games if need be. So it's up to Hotmaster to try and figure out exactly what kind of cards to be trying to play here, and if they can pull out the proper comp to try and counteract those.
I think the problem that Hotmaster ran into was that Apex just kind of stuck around, right? There was always like 1 or 2 fights that they won, and then they lost zone, but they were still there. Because if you saw, for most of the game, Apex were pushed back to like the ramp or snipe, other than the beginning, which Hellmaster I believe got a double kill on snipe and pushed him really far back. But Apex was always on ramp or snipe, and they were able to re-get their specials and get zone. So I think if you're a Hellmaster, it's about making sure that you take away even more space from Apex here.
Yeah, space control is definitely going to be the key here. And I mean, it's always been the key against Apex as well, since Yoshi and Bonk have been very well known as flankers and just harassers and skirmishers. So if you can keep your area properly painted up and keep your area just in decent control here, there's no room for those 2 players to go around and be the menaces that they are on the background here. And at a breakaway, we don't see too many changes between these 2 teams, feeling comfortable with what they got. Hotmaster does get the first pop here, and we're going to see exactly who's going to take the first pick.
Yeah, we're gonna see here Rihanna going in, forcing to jump out here really quickly as to not lose their life first here. Unfortunately, the pencil for Hotmaster, actually 2 members of Hotmaster are going to go down. Another one, Rihanna trying to make up something here, getting 1, getting 2, getting 3. So just getting a neutral trade out of that somehow, some way. Apex though, they're still not going away as the zone, as mid is gonna be painted in Hotmaster's color, but still Apex are still fighting for this.
Yeah, I mean, even though they did pick up the Rainmaker, the players from Hotmaster were still stuck around in mid here, so it's just gonna be a utter bloodbath from both sides to try and be the one to establish that first solid control here. Kraken does come out from Apex. Hotmaster forces scatter and back up, even though they do have tactical online. They're forced to respect the prowess from the Kraken here, as they're 1 minute into the game. No one has managed to make a proper dent into their push here. Rihanna going on the backline to try and get this punch out of position. That least accomplish that, as we do see them jump out. Apex forced to back up even further as Hubmaster takes control of mid.
Yeah, Mondi doing what they can to make sure this bubble is as ineffective as possible for Hallmaster is going to get shredded almost immediately. Now the jumper's going to come in. Rihanna keeping their lives for just a second. Junior, you see Mondi going on a bit of a Scooby-Doo-esque chase there. Not quite able to finish off the kill, but Apex, in the meantime, able to break through that first checkpoint.
Oh, even though I don't entirely agree with that Junior pushing up against Rihanna there, it kind of worked out in the end there, keeping Rihanna constantly on the move here, distracting them long enough that they were able to take that first checkpoint here. And with Apex, once again, Bonk using the practice going in on the defense, get a pick here. They pick up the Rainmaker, take it down to 42 points remaining. A very solid second push here after that first checkpoint.
Yeah, good push indeed. Now all that prowess is on Hubmaster to respond here, as we're about halfway through this game, and Hubmaster has still yet to get on the board here. So if you're Apex, you're sitting pretty, and you see right there Yoshi on the bit of a flank, forced to get away by getting a lot to themselves, actually managing to get a trade out of it and getting rid of the bubble for Hubmaster. A very, very big dent for them, because now that takes away a lot of their security when they want to push here. Love Galore going in with the hammer, as you see Zekrom there on the pencil, just going straight forward. 26 points left for Apex, and now Hubmaster, you have a very, very tall mountain to climb here.
Yeah, I mean, they saw the opportunity and they took that opportunity, taking it down to 26 points remaining. Around that point mark here is when things get very hard to try and actually contest here. Apex hitting themselves really good here. Now it's going to be a very tall mountain for Hubmaster to climb to try and at least contest that lead here. And I think the first thing that they gotta try and do is get a player or two down. And they do get two down. Hubmaster looking at trying to flip this momentum as best as we can. But the unfortunate thing is they still have that first checkpoint to get through.
Yeah, 90 seconds remaining. You see Rihanna with the this way, but unfortunate timing. Yoshi with the double kill from that hammer here, going straight for the Rainmaker. They're able to get them down, as that push, as quickly as it was manifesting, it was destroyed in a matter of seconds. Rihanna, though, able to get a little bit of revenge, getting Yoshi there with the slash. And now, if you're Hubmaster, it's a lot less time on the clock now, a little over 100 seconds to go left in this game here, so you still have to break through that first checkpoint, which would be very, very hard for them.
Yeah, I mean, Apex with such a lead here, they have a lot of cards in their hand to play as aggressively or as defensively they want to try and stall them out or be on either end here. But with 50 seconds remaining, Hubmaster not being able to contest that Rainmaker just yet. Apex just forcing Hubmaster back up bit by bit, and with the Rainmaker back in their possession, they could very well easily just play the slow and steady game, make sure they can't get to that Rainmaker and stall them out here. But no, Love Galore coming in from the back line here, takes that Rainmaker out and just scatters Apex's own members as Hubmaster just desperately tries to retake control mid.
Yeah, Hubmaster trying to do what they can, but once again, Yoshi in the back lines, causing a distraction, doing what they can to make sure that Hubmaster cannot get all their members facing one direction at the same time. Yoshi just keeping themselves alive. Very good there. The more time that runs off the clock, the better, as Rainmaker isn't going to be forced to reset. Love Galore going to go down there. They got to pop the Rainmaker if they want any chance of getting the game. They're not able to do it, and Apex holds on. Well, doesn't even give Hubmaster a chance to score at the end there, and will win game number 4, and will move on to our winner's side of Grand Finals.
What an extraordinary showing by both of these two teams. But Apex has shown exactly why they made it this far with their record. It's just utterly taking a very, very, very wonderfully controlled games from all three of their victories here. Hubmaster were just forced to just respect a lot of their pressure at the end, just weren't able to do much against it. But Hubmaster still an extraordinary job at nonetheless taking this far in the sets.
Yeah, just doing what they can, really, Apex. I mean, shout out to Hubmaster, they really did fight. But again, like I said, it felt like, especially during that third game, it felt like Apex just kind of keeping themselves around. And from that last game, Hubmaster, they're on the back foot from the get-go. Like, we were talking about flanking the flanks earlier and how important they were, and we saw right there how Yoshi and Bonk just being distractions allowed the rest of the team to really get the job done.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, props for Hubmaster for doing what they did, doing the best that they could. But IFX just shown once again why, just how their game plan just could actually just come together and do extraordinary damage to the enemy team. But good showing for both teams nonetheless. I do hope that Hubmaster can at least make a proper comeback to try to refight IFX in grand finals after their loser bracket run. Though, with that being said, losers bracket is about to come up in just a moment. But before we get to that, we are signing off on our side. So, Topic, anything else you want to add or tag as we head out here?
Yeah, you can find me over at Topical2 on both Blue Sky and on Twitter. You can find me at Topic2 on Discord. Also, if you're in the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Gridlock is happening on August 24th to 25th. I'll be going there. It's very fun. The week after that, I'm going to Riptide. So if you're at Riptide, come say hi. But Dark, what about you?
Oh, you can find me at SBF Dark at most social media websites. And more often than not, you'll hear my voice time and time again between the various organizations we have here, such as Dapper Productions, CCA, IPL, on I'm literally all over the place here. But as well, before plugging lands here, for those of you who are in the DMV area, Anarchy Novas is in fact next weekend. If I do believe they are filled up on participants there, but if there's a way to support it, you should always just support what you can. And I'm always vocal about lands, but that you can support. But that being said and done, that'll wrap us our block here. We have 2 fresh commentators coming into you in just a second, so don't go anywhere just yet. We'll be right back after this break.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Squid Junction. We are in our losers finals. It is I, Mad Gamer II, and I'm joined by the one and only Rocket. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
I am doing wonderful, and we are looking at losers bracket finals, looking at best of 3 between our 2 and 3 seeds respectively. Master just coming off of that winners bracket finals loss versus Aphex up in the winners bracket finals. They have already secured their spot in grand finals. In order to get that rematch, however, they do have to go past our 2 seeds. Skirk Weapon, please.
I was gonna say, it was a pretty close matchup in the winners finals. I know there was at least 2 matches where they nearly brought it back, but just unfortunately weren't able to clutch up in the last couple of seconds. So they are definitely raring for a rematch here. But like you said, they do have to face Scourge Weapons, who has been here since round 2 of losers. So they've been working their way up through the losers bracket, trying to make their redemption run as well. So we're coming to a head here.
I mean, yeah, all it takes sometimes is for a team to have their backs against the wall. Like you mentioned, they've been here for a while in the losers bracket, 1 set, and they're out. But, I mean, they've been living through all that, kind of just living off of the kind of like a survivor's high, if you will, of just like all instincts are a go. So something that I believe Master just has to worry about here, as now, with this set commencing, we'll see our weapons here.
Here we go, locking in here. Ooh, I was noticing the new dually sculptures coming out from Robot. Just interesting to see the new dualies in general. I know that they typically are kind of play that skirmishing role, but they have the double dualies here, so going to be having 2 skirmishers plus that aggro on the wiper. So it's going to be interesting, especially go up against kind of like the roller there, which is going to be more of Sharkin trying to find those subtle picks.
I mean, yeah, you have a lot of skirmishing weapons with, like you mentioned, the double dualies and the wiper there, really just being able to just try to chip away at the members of Master here. You did see that they were able to get into the zone at least briefly here, but Skirk Weapon, please, able to kind of get that counterattack and now trying to work on that elbow here. Robot just poking around this left side, seeing if they can get anything going. However, on the other side, they do have to worry about that Zuka that is online for Master. You do see Robot is taken out by this pen here, but so far it has been a full-on stalemate in mid.
Indeed, like we saw zone flip a couple of times. Now we have the lead swap in favor of Skirt Weapon, please. But their wiper is going to be going out as well as their dually. So with 2 members down, it's going to be an easy flip back to Master. Going to be looking for some space, just chilling with the sprinkler there, taking that out. But already we're seeing 2 members of Master already going down as well while they're distracted. So it just those little pits in the side, just so many fights are breaking out, so many members going down from both sides.
Yeah, neither side has really been able to get the major advantage here. I mean, you do see now Master is managing to get 2 in total, but I mean, the trades are there. You see the roller going down, 2 Skirk Weapons, Pen, just both teams just taking trade for trade. This is a very contested game so far. Both trying to see if they can just get their specials, but in the game of Splatoon, all it takes is just for one key moment, one major mechanical play to really just have a team pull away here. But so far, both teams just kind of taking jabs at each other. Zuka yet again online here. You do see it go out. Will it find any value? We'll just have to wait and see. It does manage to cancel out that crab, though. Really nicely done. But now with Master out of their penalty, they can probably take the lead here.
I say an excellent Zuka shot from there. And speaking of specials, I honestly haven't seen too much of the bubbler from that roller there. I feel like getting that bubbler set up would just extend that lead so much more. But we do see it online now. And here we go. Here's the bubbler finally getting popped in such a strategical position right here in the corner here. Taking 1 for the team, and so it's going to take a little bit longer for Master to kind of break back in as the rest of the members of Skirt Weapon are trying to break back in here. But the crab just not finding any luck, going to be taken out once again, but are able to get enough paint on the ground to contest the zone here as we're getting down to the last 18 points for Master.
Yeah, I mean, but at the very least, Skirt Weapon were able to at least force that penalty, so buying themselves a little bit of some time here, a little bit of an opportunity, especially with that pick onto that Stamper as well. Now 2 in total fall for Master here. Now Skirt Weapon maybe can push up this elbow here. Elbow is such an important choke point on this map. You really are able to just kind of create that lockout situation if you're able to control a nice kill onto that roller here by Robot, just trying to see if they can poke around on this right side here. 2 minutes left in the match, still plenty of time for this to really play out here. You do see the dualies going down early for Skirk Weapons here. A comeback needs to happen in order for them to really put that pressure back onto Master.
Oh, but they're getting close. They do lose 2 of their members, unfortunately, so that's probably going to stop them, able to hold the zone here, but they did get pretty darn close to taking that lead back. And they do have the Butler set up once again, but like they have to find a way to get back in there, and with the shot going down, that's going to be the Zuka out of commission. Hammer is going to be coming out from Skirk Weapon, please. Going to be trying to find a pick, does not, and is going to be taken down, but the Crab is going to just kind of keep things contested here. But it's just, again, so many members dropping down low and just getting picked off by some of these longer range weapons.
Yeah, both Pens just trying to see if they can paint any of their teammates in, trying to see if they can just get any inch of space here. Now, with a 1 minute warning here, you do have still Master in the lead, but with Skirk Weapon Please in the zone, they cannot wait to push in. They need to get in, they need to force the pressure here. That's a nice start, being able to find one here. Can they find more on this retake? This retake needs to come in handy really quickly. The hammer is popped, won't find much value though, and right on cue, Master are right back into the zone with a 3 down situation here. Now with 35 seconds left, it is all pressure on Skirk Weapon Please to make this retake.
I say that's going to be a huge turning point right there with the 3 down off of Skirk Weapon Master. This is the first time we're seeing Master actually like really push into this choke point on the elbow here, getting that pencil right on the corner here. They are going to be forced to be pushed back, but just getting that far up is going to delay Skirk Weapon from getting back into zone here, and they're fighting for it. They're trying to get in. They do get the cap there and 2 members down, but there's still a lot of presence from Master here, and they are ready to go in. As we get down to the last 5 seconds of this match here, all I got to do is flip the zone once to keep this lead, but Skirk Weapon Please is going to be fighting for it tooth and nail. 2 members down. They do have the Crab online, but they can't afford to lose that paint, and it is going to flip back at the last second for Master as they take this first game.
Yeah, really nicely done from them, and we saw that valiant comeback attempt. However, just the interesting thing about that map to me, at least in particular, was just how basically tug of war it was. I mean, you don't typically see zone maps, especially on Robo Ramen, where I keep harping on it, but that elbow position is just a really important stronghold. But I mean, you really didn't see either team develop that kind of stronghold for very long, because they were just very confident in being able to kind of take trades here and there, kind of poke at each other here and there. But there was just a lot of just both sides just poking jabs at each other to see if there's any real weakness. But I mean, eventually Master was able to kind of just force the issue, really able to push up that elbow and ultimately get that victory here. But with that being said, now with them up 1-0, Skirk Weapon Please is 1 game away from elimination, so they really need to see if they can change their fate here on TC Inkblood.
I say they're nearing the end of their losers bracket run. They just got to secure these last 2 matches to stay in this. Master might be the downfall of them, but going into this next match, we got tower control on Inkblot. Like you said about Ramen, it is very crucial to get some of those choke points, getting that elbow right there. And I feel like they had a lot of minute specials coming out, a lot of like Zukas and one-off specials, but then they didn't make really good uses of their engagements or their long-term special like the Bubbler and the Crab. It's just they weren't able to hold a particular area for too long. And I feel like going into tower control on Inkblot, we might see some of that tug of war once again. You really need to have kind of that good foothold, that good space control in order to get a really long-term push going, even though it is pretty snowballing. Having that control of those choke points, having the bats, having the plat, things like that. But if they're going to be trading out as much as they did in that first game, I think it'll be a little bit more difficult to kind of get that run going.
For sure, and I'm thinking of the weapon comps now. Master did roll out that roller. If it returns here, it can be really vital for this point, especially with these ledges here. You do see the switch over, I believe, to the Twink Dualies there, the ones with bubble as well. So both teams will be, in fact, running that bubble, but besides that, no major changes from either side. The only one, like I mentioned, was the switch over to the other kit. No more vanilla splat Dualies. So with both teams running that bubble, let's see who is able to kind of utilize it best.
As another interesting choice is they're both running the Wiper here, so we're going to see some Wiper v Wiper action here, but already 2 members of Skirk Master going down right there, and a third to boot, so it's going to be Master on the first checkpoint, got some specials online, Zuka ready to go, but they have their own Wiper going down. Oh, but important pick on the pencil, that's going to be that backline, that kind of staple. But such a key bubbler is going to extend this all the way up to the second checkpoint, and the roller is just going ham out here.
I mean, yeah, we kind of missed it at the beginning, but they were able to get 2 opening picks, which allowed Hellmaster to get this push going here. They've already passed 2 checkpoints already. I'm already down to the 39-point mark. This is huge already, 1 minute in, and already a massive presence being made here. You do see the dualies managing to find one, but unfortunately rolled over yet again by this roller. There's so many ledges to really kind of work with here, and with such a powerful and oppressive weapon as the Splat Roller can really take advantage of that. You do see them go down, however, but now you do see Skirk Weapon Please really finding that opening to kind of just retake this. But I mean, look at the damage that Hellmaster was able to create.
I was gonna say that is a much different game than we saw in the last one. Even though Hellmaster did take it in the end, they were just a lot more confident in their play in the opening bit here, and I feel like that roller in particular kept getting caught out on Ramen here, but now they have a lot more little nooks and crannies to hide in and able to get in and get those picks. And already we're seeing their pencil on the side of Skirt Weapon going down, Cold on the side of Hubmaster looking for another one, and they're gonna be going again, trading out with the other Wiper. Oh, but we do see a DC coming out here. I don't know. We do see the pencil standing still, whether this will be replayable or not.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure on the ruling here. It does look like they are going to be playing it out, which is very unfortunate, especially with the situation. With that wipeout as well, just making things just so much more difficult for Skirt Weapon Please. Already down this massive deficit, already having to pull back a comeback attempt, but now with 1 player down, it's going to be a very monumentous effort and basically near impossible here. You do see this roller, Rihanna, just lurking. They see their target, and on this pencil, finds it. Really nicely done there. However, you do see Robot just trying to see if they can do anything in mid, trying to see if they can just draw attention away, but with Bubble on the point, it is unfortunately looking like Hellmaster is just going to roll this one to the goal.
And I feel like there are certain map modes with even a man down, you can kind of make your way back and hold on to at least this lead, but tower control in particular is just so hard to work with when you have a player down. I feel like they definitely, even without the lead that Hubmaster already have, it was going to be an uphill battle for them.
Yeah, very unfortunate there. Unfortunate way to kind of end things, but it is what it is here. Hellmaster will get that victory, and at least storyline will be had as Hellmaster will get that rematch against Aphex, who have been waiting for them in Grand Finals. Now, both these teams, like you mentioned earlier at the beginning of the set, did face off in a very, very close set. Now, the 3-1 score may be very deceiving, but a lot of those kind of just could have went either way. So I'm interested to just see this rematch of a lifetime. I'm sure there will be potentially a bracket reset as well if Hellmaster are able to win that first set. Remember, this is double elimination, so we will have Hellmaster potentially forcing that if they are able to kind of win that set. But if Aphex win that grand final set, I mean, it's GG's.
I was gonna say at least one match the Hellmaster won, they were able to bring it back in overtime, and then a second one also on Ramen Zones. Just they were very close to taking it back. They were just a couple points off from that lead, but just it was at the end that Aphex was able to kind of hold on to the space and not let them flip the zone. So, like you said, it could be their chance of redemption to be able to bring this back.
Yes, but with these teams already have played a set, they would be very, very familiar with each other. But before we get to that, I believe we're going to take a very, very quick break. Shouldn't be more than 2 minutes, I believe, as we're just going to prepare the lobby. So we'll be right back for the conclusion of Squid Junction number 97. Okay, so a little bit longer than 2 minutes, but we are back. I'm still Rocket. Joining me is the one and only IMAD here, and we're looking at Grand Finals, a little bit of a rematch from Winners Finals here between our 3 seed and our 1 seed here, and taking a look at kind of the map pool here in terms of our set. We have a very interesting set in terms of map modes, in terms of how it's kind of going to go along between game to game.
Yeah, we were just talking about kind of like each team has an option to like ban a map mode from kind of the pool they have here. Very interestingly, we are going to be seeing a double zones, double tower, because neither team wanted to play Clan Blitz or one of the Rainmaker modes. So it'll be, I guess, not repetitive, but it'll be interesting nonetheless, especially considering we're going to be starting out on Mahi Zones, which I think is one of the more dynamic map modes. It's very controversial, but I enjoy playing on Mahi, but it is definitely a very different experience compared to some of the other maps.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just having control of the zone on this map in particular is such a advantage. This is where you really see a lot of kind of snowball-y type, kind of more snowball-y type matches here. I mean, you do see some sprinkles of those very contested maps here and there, but with Mahi zones in particular, retakes are such a vital part about this, because if you fail on a retake here, it is really hard to kind of get back into the zone without really any specials, especially if you are staggering as well, just because of the nature of the map, really just forcing yourself to drop into the zone. But enough yapping real quick. We're going to be taking a look at some weapon comps here. We will be seeing that Carbon and Junior here, and on the other side, a little bit of a change up from what we saw from that previous set from Hallmaster.
Indeed, we're going to be seeing the double wiper, the double Splatana, I'm sorry, from Hubmaster. We did see the wiper in play last time, but also I'm loving the new mini coming into play here. It's going to be having the beacons of the Zuka here. Going to be have a lot of paint output and just a lot of skirmishing power, and they're already getting a 3 down off of Aphex right here, coming in strong from their losers winner, and going to be cleaning up that 4th one. Going to be setting up for the hold right here. I've heard it said that like the game doesn't start till it hits that 60 mark, but already they're coming here to play.
I mean, yeah, that mark is coming up, and it's really soon here. You have Rihanna on this left side with the decap. Oh, both weapons just so close to each other, but the Carbon managing to find that pick up. Now, you see Hallmaster with a 2 down situation here. It's going to get a little bit scuffed here to just try to see if they can hold onto the Zuka. Does come out assisting with 1, but unfortunately the bomb does force now. Aphex going in with the zone now. Just you see the Carbon just under this ledge. This is the nature of the map. Just so many different ledges to where these weapons can just kind of reign pretty here. You almost saw a Carbon roller stomp. I really wanted to see that, but still. Now, Aphex nearing that point to where they can maybe contest this Hallmaster lead.
So yeah, they're getting super close to the lead, and with the water drop right here, this kind of gets to the point of how, like you were saying before, how difficult it is to kind of drop into zone and retake, especially when you got a Carbon on the enemy team lurking in any little drop of ink that you're not aware of. So just with the amount of map control that Aphex has right now, Hallmaster trying to find some sort of opening. Both the Splatanas trying to find an opening, but just the Zuka, the Sharks, everything is just denying them that space here. It's just continuing to put out paint, continue to keep that map control, and we're getting down to the last 10 points. We're getting down to Hellmaster's going to need a Hail Mary to bring it back, but it's just they can't keep the... Oh, I stand corrected.
Ooh.
I stand corrected. Down to 1 point, and they're going to flip that zone.
Just barely by a hair, somehow managing to get some key picks there. Now, with strong control of the zone, I mean, I was talking about how snowbally this map can be. I mean, Aphex basically almost 100-0 there. A great monumentous effort will have to be had by Hallmaster to try to hold on to this. Decaf does have a bubble available, but here comes the Booyah Bomb from Aphex's from their Stamper, excuse me. As you see now, this decapped Rihanna previously on that roller here, just trying to see if they can find any sharking players here. You managed to get into the bubble of that junior player. Really nicely done. Managed to find 2 as well, but it might not matter as unfortunately the zone is flipped behind them. Oof.
As they are putting a lot of trust in their team to keep that zone painted, as they got 3 members of Aphex down here, getting the revenge shark on that Carbon there, as well as the junior, which with the baller pop like that could have been detrimental to Hubmaster's hold, but able to get that key splat there, it's going to allow him to keep some space. But again, just the zone flipped back in Aphex's favor here, and with 3 members wipe out for Hub Master. Aphex is going to be locking in once again, and we already see the Stamper setting up on Hub Master's plat here.
Yeah, now Booyah Bomb, to make things worse, if you're on the side of Master, you kind of just want to get your specials and make sure this is a coordinated effort here. Rihanna is already threatening this. Unfortunately, they invest the bubble early here. Unfortunately, will not find much value. The hammer now being found, managing to find one Zuka as well. All of the specials of Master come out here. The Cooler, the Zuka, all of them are coming out. But will they be able to kind of contest this zone here? You have the Viper just trying to poke at the members of Apex, but unfortunately, they are going down, and that might just do it right there. Aphex with a little bit of a dominating fashion there, being able to basically, like I mentioned, get it to 100-0, and was able to just kind of ride the tails of that to the very end. Really nicely done here as they take a 1-0 lead in Grand Finals.
I'll say we had a really good start from Hub Master there, but I feel like where they started to fall apart there, they had some really good individual plays from their players, but I think their comp relied quite a bit on the skirmishing and fighting power of their weapons. You know, we saw a lot of good special usage from Aphex, a lot of good position holding, a lot of good sharks, but then what the key moments that Hub Master was able to turn things around was when one of the Vipers popped off, when one of those Patanas went in, got 3 kills, and we had to lead the way for the team, and just we saw continually again and again all the members of Hellmasters kind of dropping in, looking for a fight and hoping they win it, but more often than not, Aphex, just because of the sheer amount of paint control, area control, just was able to get kind of the 2v1s and take those fights.
Yeah, and in a map such as Mahi Mahi, unfortunately, if you do lose a player early, it kind of just throws a wrench in things because, I mean, it does delay your push, it does kind of reduce that firepower, and exactly like you mentioned, just forces you to try to win those fights that Aphex, with those advantageous positions, were able to kind of play smart. I saw there was a moment during that very, very large lead that Aphex was kind of accumulating. 2 members of Master went down, and then as soon as they respawned, the other 2 members went in and died as well, so they were just two down staggered for a good about 30 seconds there. So just really nicely done from Aphex to kind of just know that pace and just kind of force these picks here. Let's see if this continues on Hagglefish Tower.
And I know that for that last match, and like we said, because of how dynamic Mahi can be, we do see a lot of, I guess, more one-off comps coming out from teams here. And we did point out that like the comp that we saw from Hell Master was a lot different than we saw from the losers final. So we'll see if they're going to stick with that or if they're going to try to swap into something that they've been running before here in this next one. I know that with Tower Hagglefish, we get into the same kind of situation we saw from Inkblot. Just key points to get a hold, a lot of snowball potential here if you're able to get going. But I don't know, we gotta, I think Hubmasters kind of gotta dial it back a bit, play more for the team plays and try to find a way to combat Aphex's special usage.
Yes, for sure, especially near that second checkpoint. I think that is going to be the key factor here. The second checkpoint has a lot of defender vantage points to really just kind of rain down fire onto the tower here, and both teams did run a bubble in that previous game. Aphex, I believe, running that Junior, and Hubmaster running that Decav. Now, we saw from Rihanna in the previous game that they were running Roller here, and now we saw them running Decav. I honestly think both those weapons kind of play very, very similarly. I mean, they both have bubble, they both have that insta-kill potential, and I believe that I think I would lean a little bit more towards the Roller just because of the ledges here you can kind of camp. I mean, the Decav did do them wonders, don't get me wrong, but against a team like Aphex that do have the Stampers, you kind of need to counteract that in some manner. But I believe we are waiting on one of these teams to sub out a member, so maybe we will see a little bit of a drastic weapon change.
And that might have been, I guess, kind of the explanation for the comms, is having a different player in play, had a little bit different strategy. But with Aphex on that Carbon, and I know Saha Master had the Roller in play, it comes down to how confident do you feel placing another weapon from your weapon class, because there are going to be a lot of one-on-one matchups. Unless they happen to be on different parts of the map at any given point, you're going to be seeing a lot of very similar positions from the Roller and the Carbon. And so it's like, okay, how confident am I feeling in out-rollering the other Roller, you know what I mean? And so maybe just with the kits, you got the Butler versus the Zuka, okay, maybe they're gonna have slightly different positions. You want that Roller way up front, trying to just hold things down. But again, when you have kind of that shark, you have those ledges that you got to watch out for, if you get into kind of a, I guess, that stagnant position that we saw them before, it might be harder to, combat them, break back out.
Yeah, and Roller is a difficult weapon to play, especially on Hagglefish Market, where kind of the flanks are a bit limited. Maybe players gonna have to get a little bit more crafty here, especially Carbon Roller, just with the limited range. But I mean, hey, I've seen crazier things happen here just between both sides. Like you mentioned, that duel between rollers is going to have to be something that we keep close attention to. But I mean, just kind of reminding ourselves what we saw from Aphex as well. That Stamper, the new Stamper that they had, was consistently able to kind of get out their Booyah Bomb. So they do have kind of like that GG special. I always like to call it a GG special, because what does that mean? I mean, if you have control of the tower, you have control of the lead, you're able to get and force control of the tower there by just throwing that Booyah Bomb right on the tower, and boom, victory is yours. GG's it for sure. So, definitely something Hubmaster is going to have to take into account, especially if they kind of go down here early. But yeah, very, very interested to see how this is going to turn out. Again, we are just waiting on a sub here, kind of waiting on word to see who that is. But, I mean, what do you think, Imad? What else do you think we could potentially see here?
I think, like, we did see, okay, so we saw the new Stamper coming out from Aphex there. That has really good skirmishing, really good ledge camping potential. Potentially, I don't know if they just like the kit better than something like the vanilla variant, but it is very possible that they bring out the vanilla variant for tower control. Just be able to, one, the barter spawn combo is always just a killer combo, but then having the Zipcaster get up onto kind of the accessible area when you don't have the tower, just get up there and cause havoc, could potentially play in their favor. But like you said, just having a GG Booyah Bomb for the end game is also super powerful. So I don't know. We'll have to see how they want to kind of play that around. But I think, again, just the big question is from Hubmaster, do they want to run the double Splatana? I think that on their own, like, they are a very powerful weapon class, but potentially who the sub is and whose team the sub is coming in for could change that. But I'm trying to remember what they were playing for the losers bracket. I think we did see a Dually Squelcher. They were running double dualies, weren't they? Or was I thinking of the other team?
Yes, they were. I believe they were. But anyways, we're just gonna jump straight into it here, interrupting our little bit of pondering. I mean, I do kind of hope to kind of see that new mini return. We do see a Slosher coming in from the side of Aphex, I think. And on the other side, we do see a little bit of a comp change here, kind of standard to what we kind of saw before the 10.0 change here, with Zen on that S-Blast, I believe, coming in there. Really will be able to kind of replace that mini Splatling, but also give them a little bit more mid-range fighting power, which I do love to see on tower.
I say this is the tried and true comp right here, and I feel like having the S-Blast, having just kind of that AoE for tower control is always kind of strengthened for like the blaster and the AoE weapon, but I think for Hagglefish in particular, again, we're talking about some of those ledges, some of those off angles that you want to get at is going to be helpful, but I guess not so in this case. Hubmaster is going 3 members down, just the pencil, having to jump out. So first control is going to be going to Aphex here, going to be going for that first checkpoint, and the Zuka, but the bubbler is going to be popped right in that corner there, is going to kind of stall out how far up Aphex can push right here. Strikes might change it, but just be able to kind of delay their push up here, but already we're seeing a 2v2 situation from both sides.
Yeah, but with Bubble on the tower, Junior up there as well, just kind of making sure that they can't take these key positionings on that right side, which is what I mentioned here. The second checkpoint now going to be the most brutal fighting of all. The Junior just trying to see if they can stay on that tower. Unfortunately, is taken out by that pen here. You want to see if that Carbon on Aphex can maybe cause some chaos here. You do see the Slosher, though, Yoshi on that right side. Managed to find one, is unfortunately taken out here, but now members of Aphex just are slowly but surely losing a little bit of ground. Carbon is taken out by Zen. Really nicely done by them to somehow survive that, and that push will finally be thwarted, but still, Aphex will at least get one checkpoint out of that.
Indeed, and I think like just stalling them before that second checkpoint, because I think once you get past the second checkpoint, it's a lot harder to keep the momentum down from the other team, and so if they're able to start getting something going, they could potentially reverse it. But a nice pick from the pencil right there is going to bring it to a 2 down. We do see the bubbler online for the decaf. That could be really strong to just kind of stall things out and keep it going. Carbon going down as well is also such a key pick here, but now we're seeing just the pencil remaining for Hubmaster, and honestly, not enough members on Apex to kind of get a push, but it also just denies Hubmaster that opportunity themselves here. Decaf has been just very back so far. They haven't really popped the bubble yet. They haven't been as aggressive as, oh, well, never mind, they're down.
I mean, yeah, I feel like it's just because of how dangerous that Carbon is on the side of Apex. I mean, both those weapons just kind of have to just be more opportunistic, really just trying to see if they can find anything going. I mean, speaking of which, you see that Carbon on this left side, seeing if they can find anything from the Zuka. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like they will, and now a counter Zuka on the other side really just kind of stall things out. But I mean, this stalling is still beneficial to Apex because remember, they're the ones in the major lead here. It's still 2 minutes to play here, so a lot of things can still happen, but this Carbon on this left side managing to find one, potentially managing to find two. No, doesn't able to find that tick there. I thought they were able to get that, but now Hubmaster maybe have a little bit of a numbers advantage to maybe move in.
I said that would have been detrimental for Hubmaster with the Carbon able to get that second one, but I think able to stop that and then pop in some special. Ooh, but the Zuka is so close, not quite able to find someone. They got to be hurting for sure, but I think living the strikes here and then taking out the Carbon once again, that's going to give them this first checkpoint right here and the Booyah Bomb to kind of secure this corner here, getting that tent. Like, they're going to be on their way to the second checkpoint as well. A nice pick from Zen here. Gonna just solidifying that hold, and they could potentially take this lead back. Gotta watch out for the Carbon here. 1 point. Oh, just a point away from the lead. Oh my goodness.
What?
Do steal the lead, but unfortunately loses to the wipeout from the Carbon there. Oh my goodness.
I mean, hey, now with that wipeout, Apex has all the space in the world, but like you mentioned, just being put through the meat grinder was Hubmaster. But now with a minute and the lead, the entire story of this match has flipped on its head, especially now with a 3-player down situation for Apex here. Hubmaster are sitting pretty in mid. They really just have to hold this lead. The second checkpoint is going to be very beneficial for them to kind of hold on to. That's where the true battle really begins. Strikes are invested early here. Let's see if they're able to build another strikes for their counter push here. 35 seconds left. Time is running out, and both sides have just lost their first player. Now both going a 2 down, now 3 down situation here for Apex, and a wipeout to boot.
Honestly, that was so huge for Hubmaster right there. Getting down to the last 25 seconds here, getting the wipeout, and now they have so much map control to work with. 2 specials online. The only thing they have to watch out for is the strikes, but like you said, because they have that lead, it's going to be much less impactful for Apex as it is for Hubmaster, who have now popped the GG Booyah Bomb, and they're going to be popping a little bit early just to survive the Carbon, but do get a nice splat out of it. So now with the decav just wrecking havoc, they're able to just take the tower and take the victory, making this 1-1.
We have a set here in Grand Finals, 1-1, bringing it back is Hubmaster. They're really nicely done for them to finally kind of break through that second checkpoint and kind of move along there. I mean, you saw the Carbon just tried everything in their power to stop it, but barely unable to. I believe very familiar, very ironically to their name, they bonked their head onto that tower, which has unfortunately denied them being able to kind of jump up there and contest it in time. And that's sometimes all it takes in these high pressure moments. Just one major slip up, one unfortunate happenstance, and the game is lost there just because of how even these teams are.
Absolutely. And it did feel like just how much control and space that Apex had. Like they had such a good hold, but I think just again the one push that Hubmaster was able to do, just they literally sacrificed their entire team to get the 2-point lead, and that was all they needed for the rest of that match. That was all they needed to take the victory. And so it just goes to show is like sometimes, like, I think what was key was not necessarily getting the lead, but then when they came back, even when they got wiped out, they came back and took down 3 members of Apex right off the bat. So they didn't have that, they weren't able to capitalize off the wipeout, and so that just allowed Hubmaster to continue the momentum that they had from that push.
Oh, 100%. I was kind of yapping there, and I was about to kind of end my train of thought, but I mean, Hubmaster came in and was just able to clean them off, and I was just like, oh my goodness. They were able to kind of retake that in such an effective manner to definitely show why they are here. But we'd be moving again to a kind of more tug-of-war map just because of the nature of this zones map. We're going to be looking at Umami Ruins. Now, obviously, the quirk of Umami Ruins being 2 zones, kind of divided by that top-mid part, is both teams will need to control both zones here, so we will be seeing a lot more intense fighting, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. And I think just the key positioning of that middle there is going to be a very hotly contested plat right in the middle there. But it also just the fact that the two zones is going to make it much more difficult to hold on if you don't have the surrounding area. So as long as you have a foothold in mid here, you can kind of stall things out and give yourselves more opportunities to get space. Already seen Rihanna on the Splatana there trying to find a pick, but unfortunately gets taken down by the Wiper, which has returned for the side of Aphex here.
Yeah, I feel like the name of the story so far has just been which team is able to deal with the other's kind of more sharky weapon. For Aphex, you need to deal with that decap, which they were able to do. On the other side of that Carbon Bonk, on the side of Aphex, has been a major issue for Hummaster here. You see them on this right side. Zuka is available and able to find one, potentially finding two. Not able to quite hit that shot, but it's still able to kind of hold on security of the zone and unable to get that pick onto the decap though. Oof.
Oh, absolutely here. We do see the zone flip back in return of Hummaster, but unfortunately just with two members down aren't able to hold it for long. But with two members of Aphex down, however, they're able to recap the zone, holding on to that one zone, allow them to not accrue any penalty points here. So now with control of the high ground here, it's just a matter of pushing in and trying to find some more splats to continue this hold. But again, with Aphex, just be able to keep some of that space on their side of the zone means that Hummaster can't completely run away with this.
Yes, Wonka on this right side, able to find one with their last Zuka shot. Really nicely done here, but now just trying to see if they can work up this top mid, seeing if they're trying to be that opportunistic predator here, just trying to shark around, trying to see if they can find anything on this left side. Maybe get that pencil, maybe deny a little bit of a cooler, but on the other side of the map, Yoshi managing to find Rihanna on that hammer, managing to find another onto Zen as well, and basically kind of break through the wall, managing to find three and breaking the wall of Hummaster, now giving so much space for Aphex to kind of hold here.
Yes, indeed. We're going to see Aphex extending that lead, getting down to the 40 mark here, losing their carbon here. But I think the key thing is that just the amount of map control they have surrounding the zone is going to keep Hummasters from really pushing too far. The blaster there trying to find a splat in the bubbler of the junior there, but then the bubbler portrays Aphex here, getting the ricochet off there, getting the nice splat, but still in control of Aphex here, getting down to 20 points. Hummaster is just fighting to find a way in to get control at least one of the zones to stop it from taking down, but even with three members down, is still going in Aphex's favor, but finally are able to flip the zone and stop them from getting that. But with 8 points, that's a huge lead they're going to have to come back from.
For sure, but I mean, on the side of Aphex, you're sitting a little pretty here. Just gotta make sure that you don't stagger for too long. A really nice Zuka shot will find that junior. And speaking of staggering, they will be staggered here for a little bit. But now, on the side of Aphex, you want to build up your specialty. You want to make sure you live. Nice pick onto that decap. We'll start things here. The carbon does lag a little bit, unfortunate there. Yoshi does find one before getting traded out. But these players on the side of Aphex is trying to desperately dive in. They are getting the pick, sure, but they won't have control of the zone quite yet.
Oh my goodness. Okay, the junior popping the bubbler in the zone, getting the splat with the bomb as they go down. They did not see the carbon jumping in and was able to take down the blaster there. And so they are able to flip the zone momentarily, applying a little bit of penalty points for Hummaster, but they haven't completely taken control yet. So it's still opportunities for them to bring it back in, but two members down is going to make it rather difficult.
Yeah, some of these fights looking a little bit janky here, especially that carbon, but I mean, I can't think of anything that could possibly be more dangerous than a laggy carbon just because of them just zigzagging, popping around everywhere here. But I mean, hey, more power to them, I guess. Now, with Aphex in control of the zone, 30 points remaining on their penalty, not really much to really work through in terms of their regular points. A lot of pressure for Hummaster, move in and living up to the moment there. That Zuka finds two on the shot, now trying to see if they can move forward. Unfortunately, it's found by a stamp. Take that one right back here now with 40 seconds left here. Pressure still on Hummaster to try to hold here. They still have a little bit of points and penalty to kind of go through, but if you're on the side of Aphex, all you need is one clean retake and the game is yours.
I say this is going to be the second time the Hummaster will be able to get enough space control to be able to get right up underneath Aphex's base here. but it's like the fighting power, like the bubbler would have been so handy right there, but unfortunately just gets taken down in that last second kind of push forward. The backline and the shot, they're able to kind of get the splat to keep things going, but the zone is going to flip back in AFX's favor. And with 2 members of Hubmaster down and having to be forced back so far and 3 seconds left, I don't think they're going to be able to get back in time to keep the zone, and AFX going to be taking game 2.
Yes, taking both the zone maps there, Apex kind of showing their dominance in terms of zones, but all I'm saying, we did see Hubmaster get a very narrow victory against Apex in Game 2 on tower control, and we are looking at tower control next on Ship Shape, which is going to be a very, very interesting map. And just thinking about what weapons kind of they've both been running, I mean, Apex's Carbon has really been able to kind of feast on these maps that really have these more, these places that just are able to just be inked relatively easily, and that is going to be true with Ship Shape, just being that court area. They have ledges to really kind of work around as well, so definitely something Hubmaster kind of has to adapt to, but I do imagine that S-Blast is still going to return, and I think that can help a little bit in terms of maybe trying to clear the Carbon from ledges.
I say like the first checkpoint or so getting around that corner is not going to be as well. I guess it depends. With the Carbon can't directly protect the tower just because it's a little bit in the open. However, with tower control and having the 2 checkpoints like on opposite sides, the right and left of the map, if you have all the detention on the right side, that could provide opportunities for that Carbon to flank around. We saw they've been very sneaky, very aggressive in getting those positions, like you said, just getting underneath those ledges and catching them unawares. I think it's going to really come down to what is it going to come down to? That is a good question.
I really think at least for me, I think it's going to come down to special usage. And we saw that a lot especially the waning moments of that game 3. Just both teams just trying to see if they can get value out of those Zukas in particular, especially. And conversely, on the other side, trying to stay alive with those bubbles, just really just trying to see if they can just kind of duck for cover. But I mean, I mentioned it in the middle of that game 3 also boils down to kind of dealing with the other team's more aggressive weapon. I mean, again, Hubmaster really needs to pay attention to Bonk on that Carbon. They've just been getting so much value, and that's just the nature of Carbon. Maybe not even like through the value of getting particular kills, but just having to clear that Carbon is just gonna be a very huge challenge. On the other side, Apex dealing with the decav relatively effectively, so maybe we do see a little bit of an adaptation from Hubmaster, or maybe that decav Rihanna can see if they can get something going here on Ship Shape.
I think honestly that isn't such an excellent point, because I feel like the biggest difference between the Carbon and the decav is the Carbon is like they can't directly fight anyone. They don't have the range, they don't have the speed to get up in someone's face, but they can certainly lurk in the ink and catch them unawares. But the decav does have the ability to get into people's faces, really rush people down, but unfortunately when Apex is ready for it, it just unfortunately does not get the same amount of value as a Shark and Carbon. I think the sneakier place of the Carbon, like you said, if you don't know where it is, you have to be wary of it. And so that's just another thing on their mind as they're going through. But if you know where the decav is, speaking of, like that's one less thing for you to have to worry about.
Yeah, and we do see one change here, really the only change. Hubmaster, instead of going with that V shot, will go with that new shot here with Kraken, which does provide them a little bit more fighting power and survivability here. I mean, speaking of the devil, you do see it right here, just trying to see if they can chase away and create space for Hubmaster, but it also provides another GG special as well. Unfortunately, unable to jump out is that shot here, but I mean, distraction has been made and has given Hubmaster some space to really kind of work with here as they eat through that first checkpoint.
Going for the first checkpoint, going to be taking 3 members off, a Hubmaster down here, and this is exactly the position that they want to. Oof. Oh no, it was Hubmaster with the lead. I wasn't paying attention. No, now that they've cleared out Hubmaster getting the early checkpoint and lead here, Apex is going to be moving right in, be able to get the trade off the Carbon and the decav there, but just not allowing the Carbon to set up in this open area here. That could have been really detrimental to Hubmaster's return. Getting 2 members down here, they are going to be eating through the checkpoint with that bubbler up there, but oh no, the Kraken is going to be clearing that out before they can finish it.
Yes, and something that I will mention is when this shot is in crack and they aren't painting, and what can kind of help deal with a carbon is being able to kind of paint up that court. If that court is very much blue, which it's kind of looking to be, that carbon bonk can really operate just kind of mostly uncontested, so definitely something that you have to worry about. Slosher managing to find one onto Zen there, really nicely done. Both sides losing a player, but now the tower still just being heavily contested near this mid area. Neither team has been able to really get a stronger hold. Really nicely shot there by that S-Blast, and Specials invested to just kind of stall this thing out. We are nearing the halfway mark.
I say Hellmaster has been doing an excellent job of just keeping Apex from really taking the checkpoint, but haven't really been able to retake mid so far. It's kind of been just barely scraping by to keep the momentum from going against them, but that might be changing here. 2 members of Hellmaster down, and now we're really seeing, like you said, getting all that blue paint in the court area really feeds into the Carbon's position here, although they are kind of lurking on the left side there, watching for those drops. Just so much space has been taken by Apex here, and once they get control of the top right corner there, that could really spell disaster for Hellmaster.
Yeah, you do see 2 players, that Glam Shot and the S-Plus, just trying to force the issue. S-Plus unfortunately does go down, but on the other side, Apex does lose 2 players in total here. Managing to find Bonk is the shot, really nicely done, and now some space and some presence will be had by Hellmaster to kind of retake this. They were down in that previous Rainmaker map, so don't count them out quite yet. Unfortunately for them, though, Apex does look like they are just trying to solidify this hold. They seemingly recovered very, very nicely and are back in the court, managing to find one onto that shot yet again. Managing to find 2, really nicely done. A junior can fight, apparently, and now with 3 members down in total for Hotmaster, they are going to move up with this bubble.
So you can't underestimate that the Battle Junior right there is going to be having a little bit of connectivity issues, as, oh no, 1 member of Apex is going to be going down, but that might not matter. Getting it down to 8 points here. 2 members down. It is a 2v2 situation. They honestly, they could potentially knock this out. They probably don't have the numbers now to do so. However, they have such a substantial lead that even with the player down, they're in a really good position to keep this match here. They just really just gotta not let Hellmaster run too late. They gotta basically do that. They gotta punish them for when they overextend. Just keep the positioning, keep the specials, and then just kind of stall things out for the last minute here.
Yes, but 2 fall to that Booyah Bomb, I believe, and here's the major kicker. The player that left was their Carbon, their main fighter, the main one really being able to kind of force the numbers advantages here, so now they're definitely going to have to kind of play these specials and take these fights a little bit more smartly here. You do see the Junior gets rushed down by that decaf here, the Pen as well, the same fate, and now with this player advantage and with kind of the confidence now knowing that you're able to just take these fights and not really might find much repercussion here, you do see basically in a matter of moments that leads flip, and we are potentially looking at a game 5 here unless Apex can miraculously pull out something, but nope. That will be it there. Unfortunately, Bonk DCing there kind of spelled the end for Apex on that map, and we'll be seeing a game 5 map mode that we have not seen yet. We'll be seeing Rainmaker.
I was saying, like, they exactly what came back to what I was saying before, is like when taking control of the top right area was just, especially for that second checkpoint, if you're able to control that, it just, there's no real defense you can mount there anymore. Just you have to spend all the resources to clear that out before you can even contest the tower. So it's just the decap coming around and taking out the pencil there, just that was the end of that kind of wall that they had to keep them from getting the lead there. And I think just once that set up there, especially with that bubbler, it just was incredibly difficult for them to lose without their 4th player there. So rather unfortunate they lost that match. However, they still have that game up, and they still have the reset potentially if they're not able to take this last match, but it is down to a Rainmaker match point for both of these teams.
And this is kind of what I was excited to see, kind of hoping to see. Not only that we'll be able to see a game 5, but we'll be seeing a map mode that we haven't seen these teams play, at least in this set. We'll be going to Rainmaker Scorch Gorge. Now, just taking a little bit of a backseat real quick, trying to just look at what weapons we saw there. I mean, we saw that decav, we saw that carbon here, both teams running that bubble. I mean, can you really stress the importance of bubble on this map anymore? I mean, the right path is the preferred path for many, and what is particularly difficult about that right path? I mean, the choke points, and what can solve that a little bit? Well, the bubble.
Indeed. I think like having the junior in particular pairing that with their carbon, like we talked about like the best defense against a carbon is to outpaint it. Well, vice versa, the best support you can give to your carbon is having a really high painting weapon, especially a high painting weapon that apparently can just one before the whole rest of the team there. So just having that plus the bubble, it does mount itself to success. I think the only thing they have to watch out for is you did see that Kraken coming out from Hellmaster in that last match, and that's kind of the choke point breaker. Is like you have the bubbler, throw a Kraken at it. You have a choke point that can't really get past, just throw a Kraken at it. Just the invincibility of it is not the end all be all, but it's able to kind of like throw a little bit of chaos into kind of a more insurmountable defense.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully, praying that we will be seeing an even 4v4 here. No little shenanigans. A little bit concerning about the loading time, but it won't matter. We are going to Game 5 here in this grand final set. 1 game away, potentially, from a bracket reset, or 1 game away from Aphex taking it all. We'll just have to wait and see. Oh, never mind. We'll have to wait a little bit more, as we do see a DC there, but praying that doesn't happen again, as that would be very unfortunate. But we did see a little bit of a glimpse in terms of kind of what both teams are running. Aphex will be running that Wiper here.
I say like we gotta get a little bit of sneak peek there, seeing the Wiper return, but also I was curious. So they did bring back the V-Shot. They wanted that Zuka, another really good GG special for Rainmaker, but also they wanted the Kraken. They wanted to continue with the Kraken, so they brought out the 96 Deco, which also has that wall, kind of like a miniature bubble, just with the range of the 96 cal, and having that wall, they're able to kind of keep a lot more space, especially in an open map like Scorch Gorge, able to keep a lot more space, contest a lot more ground, and then you have that kind of defense breaker of the Kraken there, and kind of a GG special in of its own if you're able to chase down the Rainmaker.
Oh yeah, for sure. I definitely like that choice a lot. I mean, 96 has seen a little bit, at least in my opinion, or at least from what I've seen as well, has seen a little bit less play just because of the new Pro kit kind of being released, kind of drawing some players over there. I might be speaking for myself, but anyways, regardless of that, 96 still
Totally
really
not
good.
yourself, not at all.
Not at all. I mean, but yeah, kind of like for the points that you mentioned, Kraken's still very, very good at kind of just denying that space. And I kind of want to loop back around to a point that you made earlier about kind of how Aphex has kind of been able to win some of these maps, particularly the zone ones, in that they're able to really paint out a little bit better than Hub Masters, especially with that Junior Carbon matchup you mentioned. That 96 is not going to be the best in terms of painting either, so I'm interested to see that kind of matchup here. Now, obviously the nature of the weapon being you have the range, maybe just shoot the carbon from afar, or maybe one-shot it, two-shot it with whatever combos you may have in your rest of your team comp, however you see fits. But yeah, definitely something to kind of keep your eye on, as well as hopefully Bonk will be here again and not to DC, so we might be seeing a little bit more of that action. But I don't know, this one's a little bit of a toss-up because we haven't seen Rainmaker yet.
Both of these teams have been avoided like the plague for sure. I want to sidetrack. I love the name Bonk. It is just such a hilarious name, especially for a carbon roller. There is no more fitting name for a player than a carbon roller main, because that is basically what they do. They come up to you and they just bonk you back to spawn. It's amazing. But trying to think of my trailer. I was curious because I didn't see, did they keep the decaf? Because that could also be a very critical point, because we do see the junior coming out from Aphex there, having that bubble that we talked about. The decaf, vice versa, and kind of the carbon to Aphex, the decaf has been the main aggressor for Hellmaster and has been very critical with the bubbler taking key positions. I miss whether they kept it, but I feel like that's got to be in their comp still. Like having that come with a double midline to deal with this wide open map here. It's just, like you said, going to be a matter of how well are they able to paint out the carbon. The range might be a good factor, but if we're able to get behind them, then that doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when you look at the weapon comp, I mean, 96 definitely does not make it much better, but I mean, you could argue it is slightly better than S-Blast, but it's like, it's almost negligible, like, amount of just, like, paint there, but again, like, that control is going to be so vital here. That decaf is definitely going to make sure to try to see if they can kind of keep the fights, because if not, you only have that previously mentioned shot and really the pen really being kind of your only weapons to kind of paint here. Now, with you having that decav and 96 that are very, very ink hungry, that are very in need of their own ink themselves, especially the decav to kind of do some similar stuff to the carbon. It really kind of opens up that new avenue of just, yeah, pace and space, really just being able to kind of win, not necessarily through the picks, but also just kind of applying that pressure. And that's really kind of what Aphex has been able to do just by the nature of having that junior to begin with.
Absolutely. I think so. You talked about like the 96 cal and the decav like being slower weapons. Something that we saw rather frequently in that last match was just the amount of bomb kills that Junior was able to get, because especially when they have that S blast. So, you get to a position you can't really you get low and you can't pay yourself out, and then a bomb just rolls up underneath your feet. Like, what are you gonna do? And so just continually the Junior able to like pick out those members of the team, just roll a bomb underneath their feet so they can't escape, and then getting some really key splats off of that. And I think additionally, having just the splat bombs, it's a cheaper bomb, but it has like the kill power, able to contest against that wall. I think just throw a couple of bombs and that mitigates the effect that wall has, and so it is going to kind of counteract the range advantage that the 96 gal is going to have. So it is going to be kind of what those matchups are going to look like here.
True. And for those wondering, yes, we still are waiting on these teams to hopefully make sure their Ethernets, their connections are in order here. Maybe go kick a router or something, make sure that that's all stabilized and whatnot. But this is grand finals of Squid Junction number 97 here. Aphex 1 win away from winning the entire thing. Hallmaster 1 game away from forcing that bracket reset here. Bonk has, according to the voices in my head, Bonk has restarted their internet. Hopefully they will be up and ready here shortly, but definitely another thing. I know I keep harping on it. I'm sure that we're both harping on it a lot, but the danger of carbon cannot be overstated, especially on Rainmaker. Rainmaker in that objective where all it takes is one flank from the carbon roller and the game is over. So definitely you need to be on high alert if you're on Hellmaster.
The carbon, just having a carbon in play is one of those things where, like, if you don't think about it, you're already losing. You have to consistently remember that there is a carbon in play and continually watch out for it, because that is what they prey off of, is your inattention. And they come at you when you're least expecting it. And I feel like, especially with my teams, like, that is our downfall. It's like, if we don't think about there's a carbon, that's when we go down to the carbon.
Yeah, definitely something you have to keep your eye on. We mentioned that Hellmaster was running a decav this entire time. This is the first time I believe we've seen them without that decav. Instead, 96 S-Blast shot. Just trying to see if they can kind of poke out the carbon through other means. Maybe their decav wasn't really quite working well, but I mean, that means that Hellmaster doesn't really have a bubble to kind of push up that choke. Interested to see if they can really take that with that Booyah Bomb instead. Both sides losing an initial player, the shot on Hellmaster, the wiper on the other side, but both will be back here shortly with that cooler, of course, but Hellmaster does lose their pen, that backline now out of commission. Gonna make things a little bit more difficult, especially if you drop the Rainmaker on that right side.
I was gonna say, like, neither team has opted to pick up the Rainmaker, just as kind of been a skirmish, but then the shot, they're just kind of grabbing it and run it to the right there. Not really getting any points, but strategically will stall out. I think they saw their backline go down. I was like, okay, we need to prep in case we do go down. Now, finally able to gain a couple of points, but do it at the cost of their team. Rihanna there on the 96, the former decap player, going to be coming in here, trying to find some splats, and unfortunately does get taken down. However, that might just stall just enough for the rest of the team to kind of come back and set up for defense.
Yeah, I kind of feel the pain of Rihanna sometimes. The weapon 96 is just sometimes just gambling, hoping that one of these shots will hit. They did manage to hit one, but unfortunately unable to hit the second there. But I do like the play of just trying to see if they can get anything out of that push. But speaking of pushes, you do see Aphex moving up here. The counters Bazooka from behind there will stall it out, at least temporarily, buying a little bit of time for Hellmaster to kind of recollect themselves. A really nice shot onto the Rainmaker carrier will deny the checkpoint, at least temporarily. And now with 2 down on the side of Aphex here, this push will stall out a little bit.
I can see. So one of the things that I was thinking about, are able to get the check in with it, live in the. Oh, nope, they go down. But I was gonna say, bring it, like, so swapping out the S Blast for the 96, but then keeping the decav. You lose kind of that burst bomb you have there. However, they did have to swap out the decav for the 96 instead of. So they still have the burst bomb. We saw there the burst bomb, just chucking a burst bomb over the pedestal there, just painted the feet of the maker just enough so they couldn't get up. And I think like that chip damage is another weakness that the Carbon has. Like if you're able to, it's almost a mini echo or mini point sensor. Like you just throw some burst bombs down. Not only does it paint, if you chip them and you're paying attention, you're like, oh, there's someone there, and then you're able to kind of capitalize that. So just it has a dual purpose and is able to kind of combo with some of these other weapons here. But as I was yapping, we are going to be seeing Huntmaster taking on the first checkpoint there and potentially looking to get that lead here. Zook's going to be coming out, not able to find a splat just yet. Nope. But it is like, as we were talking before, this is the choke point. This is the gauntlet that each team has to pass through to get to the rest of their points.
Yeah, and it looked like Hellmaster was just looking to see if they can win that team fight, but you saw a couple of their players did go down, so electing to just go for the lead instead, which is a respectable effort. Now you do see them trying to see if they can steal a little bit more points there, as with a minute and 38 remaining here, pressure is on Apex to kind of push up that right side. Kraken will be invested, just chasing this pencil, forcing them to kind of run for the hills there, and trying to see if they can delay that cooler ever so slightly, managing to get the jump out as well. That 96 really nicely done, just to kind of draw attention, but the Rainmaker will be reset back to mid, managing to get that hammer kill as well onto Yoshi there. A minute and 14 remains, still plenty of time for Apex to kind of just develop something, but still Huntmaster just trying on the other side to stall this out.
I say if Rihanna had been able to live around that pedestal, that would have been such a huge distraction for Apex to deal with, but they were able to jump out and live, and we're going to be seeing a 2v2, no, I'm sorry, a 2v1 situation with the pencil, the last one remaining. They are the last standing defense, and we see members of Apex jumping on in. They are going to be going down, unfortunately not able to keep the Rainmaker at bay, but the Kraken is going to be coming out, trying to stop this out. Yes, they're going to keep them from getting that lead as we're getting down to the last 30 seconds, Rocket. This has been going on, and neither team has really progressed too far from the checkpoint, and that is going to be absolutely huge for Hubmaster, getting in the wipe out there, and now we're going to be seeing what they saw at the beginning of the map, dropping it into this pit. 20 seconds remaining is going to be the longest uphill battle. Well, I take that back. They just took out the Rainmaker just like that. 10 seconds remaining, 2 members down. It is going to be a uphill battle for them to get the lead back. However, with 56 to 66, it is not a huge way to get there. It's just a matter of dodging the Kraken that is now unleashed upon them.
And unfortunately, they don't dodge that crack right on cue there. Unfortunately for them, Huntmaster was able to really nicely done, despite not having that bubble, which I thought was going to be a major problem pushing up that right side. They were able to push in through other means, maybe even just when they saw that opportunity, they just jumped for the points, and that's sometimes all that determines a match. On the other side, the push was stalled out, and really no bonus points were able to kind of be had after their initial push, so just barely hanging on by a thread there at the very end. You do see Huntmaster forcing that bracket reset, so we will not be seeing a repeat of kind of how Winners Bracket Finals turned out. Now, we are in for a treat. So this is the third set we've seen between both these sides, Ahmed, and I'm excited to see what map modes we will have in store for us as these teams kind of just work through their banning phase.
I was going to say, we got to wait another 5 minutes for them to choose the maps we want to ban, but if anything, we can probably guess that it's not going to be tower control or zones, because both of these teams honestly have really excelled at these modes. Like, we saw kind of the chaos that came from Rainmaker, but neither team has really wanted the uncertainty that comes from Rainmaker or Clan Blitz. They really want the more established map, or the established modes that these two have, and we've seen just from these results, like, you know, the last one with the DC was kind of a flux, but just still Huntmaster able to get both the tower maps, and then Apex getting both the zones maps kind of shows the play styles of these two teams. And then finally the Rainmaker at the end, it really came down to, like, Apex was not able to set up and have the kind of momentum control that they had in the other maps, and then Huntmaster was just continually throwing things against the wall until something stuck, and that eventually was able to get them that lead.
Yes, and taking a look at what these two teams have banned, it seems like they really hated playing that one Rainmaker map, because both teams, in response, banned Rainmaker here. So we will not be seeing a Rainmaker, but what's the good news? We'll be seeing Clan Blitz potentially. Game 3 will be Clan Blitz, so we'll just have to wait and see what that map mode is in particular, but at least from what I can see so far, Game 1 is Flat Zones Macklemore.
establish Macro Mart. Oh, okay. So we talked about like like the Carbon. This is going to be a Carbon's playground. You talk about not thinking about it, like you have to be extra vigilant because there are so many aisles and nooks and crannies for it to go down. Like if you're not paying attention, they'll jump out of the cereal aisle and just spunk you.
Yes, for sure. And now we'll be seeing the unique game mode kind of put in the middle here instead of at the very end. So Zones Tower, Clams, Zones Tower. And we will be seeing a potential, we will be seeing a lot of very interesting maps, like potential return to ship shape in Game 5 if that is needed. But irregardless, Game 1, kind of like you mentioned here, very, very if you like squares, if you like ledges, this is the map for you. There are so many different kind of these angles that weapons, such as the S-Blast here, kind of a little bit of a double-edged sword in terms of this map. Yes, the Carbon can prove to be very, very dangerous, but on the other side, with that S-Blast, a lot of ledges to kind of poke from under. If they are kind of able to do so uncontested, it can basically lead to an entire area kind of being denied just by one player here. But jumping straight into this, Game 1 of a bracket reset grand finals here. Both teams kind of running very typical weapons. Hold on. And it's hold on. A little bit of a change here. We do see Rihanna, kind of the what do you call it? Kind of like the ace here, just being able to kind of play whatever weapons. Moving over to that Luna Blaster, and we will be seeing that new Stamper as well.
I was to say we're going to be seeing. So it's interesting to me that Rihanna, who has been playing the decaf, is the one often to play Luna Blaster. Oof. But coming and getting a nice splat right there. But then it's going to be their teammate who's going to be bringing out the Stamper. But I think I can see why taking 2 members down in this first battle right here going to be potentially flopping the zone. But we see the Carbon trying to find return the favor, getting 1, potentially 2. No, unfortunately gets called out by the Stamper. But nonetheless, Aphex able to keep control of the zone, not letting Hellmaster take that away from him, even with the 2 members. I thought for sure they're going to die to that bomb. They were laying around for so long.
Yeah, I had anxiety watching that. I was like, are you gonna move? Okay. I mean, hey, maybe they're just built different. They just somehow just survive the bombs. That's why I am still in Division 7. But anyways, regardless, we do see the Hammer kind of being invested. Now, I do love that Luna pick just because of the nature of the map. The Hammer, unfortunately, is taken out through the Wiper on this left side, being able to kind of just draw some attention away, but still the zone heavily favored in Aphex's favor. And with 2 players down in total falling from Hubmaster's, time is running out.
Because they have come back with a vengeance. They were unhappy with the results of the bracket there, so they're going to be trying to get the KO early on, but no, the return. Hubmaster once again pulling out all the stops in the last second, getting 3 from that Stamper right there, and the delayed 3 down, and so they finally have control of the zone and are able to set up the Luna Blaster and that Stamper in the positions that they really want to be in right now.
Yes, and this could be a really good answer to that Carbon Roller. I mean, basically plays very, very similar to the Carbon Roller, being able to just get in your face and take those fights. Unfortunately, they were taken out on that left side, trying to poke the ledge. Love the idea. Unfortunately, the execution wasn't there. Watch out for that bomb. You do see the Zuka now online for Hubmaster to try to see if they can stall this out, but that bubble is going to be a wrench, and there is the Hammer as well. Specials come out right on cue. A really nice throw onto that pen as well. A counter throw on the other side. Both teams investing so many specials. Both now just a paint battle between a Blaster and a pen, just trying to see if they can contest this here. Blaster moving in, managing to find 1. To the victory go the victors go the spoils, managing to get that jump as well here. But I mean, both teams just fierce fighting over this control.
That Luna exemplifies something that I've always said. Like, if you're in a 1v1 with a pencil, like, you don't go for the zone, you go for the pencil. If they're back at spawn, they can't pick the zone. So they did manage to get both in the end there, but just, oh my goodness, just the 3 down, and it's going to still flop over into Hubmaster's control. And if Rihanna's able to get getting the splat on this Carbon is going to be critical for them. And now they're in a position behind enemy ranks to just put on that pressure. We're getting down to the 30 points here. Junior getting taken out right here is absolutely critical. That is their paint out of the way. Now they just got to contend with the aggression, but with the amount of paint that is on the ground for Hubmaster, it's going to be rather difficult for that Carbon and the Wiper to get in. So now we're going to be seeing the zone flip as the lead swaps, but it's going to be at the cost of 3 members of Hubmaster.
I mean, hey, Bonk made it look very, very scary. If Zen didn't have that Booyah Bomb, it could have looked like that Aphex was able to hold on to that lead. Bonk was able to find 3 on that retake, which allowed Aphex to kind of move in here, but now it is their turn to kind of defend. All 4 members, by the way, on near this right stack, just trying to see if they can hold it, but it's just like they're just their figure of speech in terms of they're basically their Alamo, pretty much. Their kind of fortress on that right side. Booyah Bomb now being invested, unfortunately, is able to take out that end here, but now with time ticking down, Hubmaster now decides to make their move, trying to paint the zone. 5 penalty left on Aphex, now forced to be 49, as now we are nearing that 1 minute mark. Fierce fighting, all of this is gonna really come to a head, as now every individual pick and fight is just gonna be that much more important.
I say this match, it felt really unified right at the end, but now we have just devolved into just chaotic fights. You don't know where a member of either team is going to pop out at this point. They're just trying to find any sort of advantage, any sort of pick that they can find here. Here we go again. The Stamper getting 2 in the last 30 seconds. They're just going to be flipping the zone back in control of Hubmaster. They are holding on to this 1-point lead and is applying penalty after penalty to Aphex. 20 seconds remaining. They do have a player down, but Zen is so deep in their base, just getting all that attention away from them. 2 members of Aphex going down as well. 10 seconds remaining. They just gotta keep that paint going. They gotta watch out for the Junior, watch out for the Carbon, but they're gonna be in the zone. Booyah Bomb's gonna come out, try to find something, and that is gonna give Hubmaster that first game.
Yes, and something interesting as well. This is their first zones map win. Remember, in the previous set, Aphex basically swept them in terms of zones, but here, a little bit of adaptation did prove to be the answer there. I mean, it might be the nature of the map, but I mean, hey, the Luna worked, the Stamper worked, and it worked in a great way there. We saw the kind of the impact of both of those weapons getting a lot of picks here and there. I'm curious to see if they're going to invest at least some of those weapons, maybe return some of those back in Inkblot Art Academy Tower, especially kind of that Stamper. I do like to see it make a return here, but I digress. I saw a lot good there from Hubmaster, and that's kind of what you expect from these bracket resets. Both these teams know each other well. They kind of know what they're running, and now would be the time to kind of make that adjustment. It's just a matter of adjustments, and that's, I think, going to be another battle that's going to be fought between both these sides, kind of just trying to see how they can counter each other.
I'll say, first off, you talked about like the Aphex, like they have been the better team when it comes to zones. In fact, for that first match, for the first 90 points, they were the better team for the zones. But I think like just something at some point flipped for Hubmaster, just able to get the cap, get the control, and it just was in their favor for the rest of the match. It was very back and forth that Aphex wasn't able to kind of flip that around. And it's like, that was on a map that we thought that the Carbon was going to have a really dominant time on. But I think just, like you said, just the picks in the comp, the Luna Blaster coming out just kind of really offset that. Like we saw the Luna Blaster, Rihanna going off. We saw Zen on the Stamper getting some really good plays and fighting out the backline and the Carbon there. I think is a very similar map structure for Inkblot. It is tower control, but like you said, I am curious to see if they're going to stick with some of those new picks, or will they bring back some of the stuff they've been working with. But I feel like it kind of worked for them in that last match.
I mean, that was pretty evident based on the fact that besides that one triple on that retake, Bonk was kind of just before we mentioned, like, this is basically this is a very good map for Carbon. It was kind of just the value wasn't particularly seen as effectively as in the other matches. Really, just now Hubmaster has kind of maybe found Aphex's number in terms of kind of how to counteract that here. But taking a look at all the maps at a whole, I mean, Carbon is still going to be very, very proactive and very good on all these maps, especially this next one with it being Inkblot. I mean, you still have all those ledges to kind of operate with, and if I'm not mistaken, we did see that Carbon work on this exact map earlier.
I was saying, not only did the Carbon for Aphex work on Tower Control Inkblot, but then going back to Hubmaster in the loser bracket, they were rocking the vanilla roller at that point, and that was fighting a very dominant faction as well. Like, it was pretty even with skirt weapons in the zone's ramen match, but then as soon as they swapped to tower control, it was just a sweep for Hubmaster in that first minute or so. Like the roller was able to set up so deep in the base and then just get the tower all the way to that third checkpoint uncontested for a good while. Just like, honestly, I would be surprised if they didn't do something similar here. Like the bubbler was also very strong, but then having just kind of that short range aggro was also very strong. So just it'll come down to, are they able to do what they did in the last match and just nullify the carbon and then able to capitalize off their own aggression?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And we have seen that Rihanna has kind of been that pocket ace, just kind of being able to play whatever weapons that is requested of them. We saw them on 96. We saw them on Roller, like you mentioned. We've seen them on Decav. We've seen them on Luna Blaster. What other surprises do they have in store for us? We'll just have to wait and see. But, I mean, I wouldn't hate the choice of really any of those weapons in terms of this comp. I mean, I wouldn't imagine a 96 at all. I mean, bigger surprises have happened here, but we do see the return of the same comps from one side. On the other side, it does seem like they are liking that formula a lot. Hummasters seemingly just rocking with this, seeing if they can just basically neutralize Bonk here, but we'll just have to wait and see if that success can continue, as now we'll be seeing the first little skirmishes.
We're going to see Hubmaster Zen there trying to find the flank, but unfortunately he gets taken down. Rihanna's going to avenge them, getting a splat of their own, but the carbon is going to clean things up. And just already we're getting into these scrappy skirmishes, looking for splats here, right, left, and center. And of course the junior just hops on tower, gets the bubbler, and they're just going to go for a joy right there. But Zen getting one, going to be taking out the pencil there, just not letting any space go for free.
Yeah, 100%. Now, Bazooka invested on that left side as well, the Luna Blaster, basically acting like a carbon on the other side again, like I mentioned. Just so dangerous to walk into, and unfortunately Bonk walks into that Booyah Bomb, so now no more carbon to really worry about if you're on the side of Hummaster, and right on cue, 3 members of Hummaster kind of jump near that tower and try to move it forward. Now, with them just trying to get their specialists going, Aphex has a little bit of space to kind of work with. They force a 3-player down situation. Those players will come back a little bit delayed, as unfortunately they weren't able to pick up that cooler. So now Aphex with control of mid, now trying to lurk to see if they can get this counterattack going.
I say kudos to the Stamper there, able to stick around just long enough to knock out the checkpoint, but as soon as they got that, they super jumped out of there. They were able to live, keep the Booyah Bomb, kind of keep resources for another fight, and now they're going to be returning, taking out the pencil, do lose their Luna there to the strikes, I think, but then they're going to, in return, take both the junior and the Stamper, just continually getting picks after picks here, and just keeping things stalled out. Like, it has been a very stally game so far, as each member just all the 1v1. I think that's the thing, is like all these fights are going to be 1v1s, and just without the numbers advantage, neither team has been able to get a solidified hold to really run away with that tower yet.
Yeah, 100%. Now you see a 2-player down situation on the side of Hummaster. This push then itself is going to be stalled out. Seems like both sides have been able to kind of hold their own on that checkpoint side. The only major difference being that Hummaster has already been able to get through that 2-player down situation on both sides. Cooler will be popped soon by Aphex, as this pen will continue to kind of move forward, trying to see what they can kind of get away with, kind of moving up to see if they can take this space here. But we are halfway through this map, and neither side has really been able to get under that 70-point mark, which is a little bit surprising on this map, as you see a 2-player down situation on the side of Aphex, maybe making 3, as Hummaster looking good again to maybe get another push going.
I feel like it's even more, I guess, surprising or impressive. Like, so far, like, every time that Aphex has been trying to make a push, they lose 2 of their players. Consistently been losing half their team in a fight. You know, Hummaster has been losing half their team in each of these fights as well, but it's like that's kind of been their MO for the rest of these matches. Not so much for Aphex. I think Hummasters they're getting a very slight advantage over Aphex in these fights here, and it's just consistently working out in their favor with just a little bit of lead that they have here. Now, of course, as soon as Avex is able to get a foothold like they're doing right now, like they could potentially change, was like the amount of pressure that they're putting on right now is just not letting either side just really run away with it, as we've seen in these last couple of matches.
and it's kind of hard to push up that ledge, especially with a Luna Blaster Stamper just on the other side, just daring you to kind of poke that, trying to just push that ledge here. Booyah being invested on that right stack will kind of clear that for the pen, really being able to keep that space here. But yet again, another little bit slow-paced match of just both teams just trying to feel each other out, maybe see if they can find an advantage here and there. 2-player down situation for Aphex here, but a counter as the Luna does go down for Houndmaster, continuing to move forward near that minute mark, and now the point total ticking up, and up. And Bazooka now being invested as well, potentially trying to see if they can scare up that pen. 2 unfortunate bombs just leave that Zuka no space to go, as now Houndmaster just seeing if they can just continue pushing this situation, making it a little bit worse for Aphex to get this counterattack. 45 seconds left, and now Aphex with control of mid, try to see if they can start this counterattack and see if they can get back this lead.
I thought it was going to be the first real player advantage we've seen in this whole game, getting 3 members of Houndmaster down here. However, Houndmaster was able to extend their lead quite a bit in that last push of theirs, and as we're in the 30 seconds here, all they really got to do is stop the tower from progressing too far. But with 3 members down and a delayed wipe, that is going to be incredibly difficult. They did pop the bubble pretty early for Aphex, so that's going to be out of commission, but they're on that second checkpoint. They're a couple points from the lead here. That lead is going to swap, and the Carbon is going ham on this plat. And with 3 members down for Houndmaster, I think this might spell the end. Wipeout once again to kind of clean things up, and we're getting down to the last couple of seconds. We see the rest of the team jumping to tower.
Man, wow. That was a valiant comeback attempt from Aphex there, and they were able to complete it really, really nicely. I mean, that's just the nature of Carbon sometimes. You keep your eye on it for 4 minutes and 59 seconds. The 1 second you don't, this is kind of what happens. You kind of just, the unfortunate just snowballing effect. Being able to counterattack so effectively, all it took was 1 victory in terms of team fighting there, and all hell broke loose. All space on the bats, on the plat, was in the favor of Aphex, and with that space, they were really able to operate it to their max effectiveness, and yeah, have one back there. They were able to get a tower map. Aphex flipping the script yet again. Both sides have now gone to victory on a mode that in the other set they were able to sweep, being Aphex being unable to beat Houndmaster in any of those tower maps, finally able to get one here.
I'd say this kind of gives another peek into the playstyles of these 2 teams. You know, so far where Aphex has been able to shine is the consistent kind of control and the consistent momentum in their push. As long as Houndmaster is able to keep them off kilter, able to kind of keep things sporadic, that's when they had the advantage. It was the last second push in overtime, the kind of continually putting pressure on Aphex, keeping them from being able to get a good push going. But the moment that Aphex has that foothold, has that control, like we saw, they just ran away with it. They were able to get several wipeouts. Like the Carbon was able to set up right where they wanted to be, and this were able to get it all the way to that 3rd checkpoint there. And so that, I think, like, is part of the reason that they have been to excel at zone so far. And that kind of is gonna be interesting going to Clam Blitz, because that is one of those modes, like, so far it's been very back and forth, and I think we might see another back and forth match. But potentially, if you're able to get, especially for Barnacle and Dime, if you get a really good hold of the area around the basket, you can just continually throw Clam, get it from 100 to 0 in 1 push.
Yes, we will be having Clam Blitz on Barnacle. 2 of the most favorite sayings, and we are seeing a gold demo roller from Bonk. Yes, Bonk, the Carbon roller player, can also play Dynamo. Of course they can. They specialize in rollers here. But not only that, we'll be seeing that new pro as well being pulled out. 10 missiles, always really, really nice to see. And that adaptation is made just because of the nature of Barnacle and Dime, just the open map. On the other side, the 96 Deco being pulled out.
As again, swapping into the 96 Deco, both teams really just throwing away their short range aggro's. Like, there's not really a whole lot of space to be able to shark here. You really want the kind of a slow-paced, consistent range that these weapons are able to give you here. And we're seeing it playing out in Houndmaster's favor for once. The Kraken just opening things up here. The one thing that is not in their favor, however, is the clams. They do not have a power clam built, even though they have the 2 members down. But finally, they're able to pool their resources together and get that basket open.
Yes, but sustained pushes is what Clam Blitz is all about, and it does look like that Hummaster is succeeding in that at least for the moment here. The Wiper now kind of moving up on this plat area, seeing if they can move in with that hammer. Does manage to find one, but the pen does make it out safely here. All the way, really nice throw by the way, all the way down to the 50-point mark though is very good push, for, especially it being your first push. I mean, the Stammer's still here, managing to find one, but forcing the 3-player down situation, Hotmaster is able to kind of hold on to this mid no problemo. With them being under that kind of 60-point threshold of, I like to say being under that 60-point threshold is really, really nice just because it kind of prevents the pity counterattack and having another ball in.
No, absolutely. So it's going to take a little bit more effort for Aphex to be able to take the lead back, and this is a almost completely different game from Hellmaster here. Like now we're seeing them kind of pull some cards from Aphex's deck here, just consistently getting space in mid, continually putting on the pressure, and like probably because of the conflict, not having to like consistently flank and like go for the splats. They're looking for the space control here, and they are continually able to get it. But now we're seeing things flip a little bit in Aphex's favor here. The pro coming in from the side here, getting 2 members down. The Dynamo is now trying to set up in mid, looking for space. And I think Hellmaster is finally being forced to back up into their own base.
Yeah, for sure. Now continuing to try to just move forward. Really in no pressure to really move forward. An unfortunate bomb just rolls into the lap of that Zuka there. Really nicely done on the other side, though. Now, with 2.5 left, still much of the map to be played, much of the match to be played here, but pressure on Aphex to not only kind of hold this mid control, but also collect clams while doing so. This is the true test of Clam Blitz as well. Sustained holding, sustained fighting, and just constantly being able to try to see if they can hold space. Hammer being invested by Aphex, managing to find one before they are traded out, but still 2 balls in possession of Master, and you can kind of see the clam economy difference on top. Oh my goodness, a nice Zuka shot will catch Bonk as well. So now that makes the situation a little bit more dangerous for Aphex trying to retake.
I was like, that's going to be another key point that you kind of brought up there. Is like, even though like Hellmaster was forced back there and Aphex took the space, you see the amount of clams, 2 power clams, and then a couple extra for change in Hellmaster's favor. Like, even if you lose some of the space and some of the map control, as long as you maintain clam economy, the other team can't do anything with that space that they got there. They can't push up, they can't get points, and so that kind of duality of this mode here, like you have to have both in order to succeed. And here, Hellmaster, once they have the clams, now they just got to retake the space, and so they're able to just pour it into the basket, bring it down to 20, and they're going to lose 3 of the members, but they have such a substantial lead over Aphex right now.
Yeah, I mean, those 3 clams, I mean, those 3 almost 3 balls pretty much was definitely worth it. They're making it a very, very difficult situation for Aphex on the counterattack. Now, yes, they do have 20 clams to their name, 2 balls plus the pity. They do lose one already on that ramp. You're gonna have to pick that one back up if you want to try to save it. Missiles do go out here, just trying to see if they can get any space. This is really the most kind of space that Aphex has been able to get this entire game. I mean, you see here, Zuka finding 2 as well, just completely shutting down that push. Oh my goodness.
Love Galore has been sniping these shots out of the airs today, just absolutely going ham on the Zuka there, and that kind of just completely killed the momentum that Aphex had there. Like, they lost all those clams that they had, they lost all the space that they had, and now they're losing all the players that they once had to Hubmaster in this last 20 seconds here. And when you get in a situation like this, like, you don't even need to open the basket at this point. Like, you're going to go into overtime potentially, but you just got to keep up the pressure. You got to keep up the space, keep the members, and then once you have the specials, that's pretty much GG right there. It's going to be incredibly difficult for Aphex to push out, and all they got to do is get one clam in the basket to end the game. And no, they missed. Oh, there it goes.
Unfortunate there. You see a little bit of reference to kind of how Sploosh players love to play the game. Just in my open games, just constantly rush the basket, just doing the little dance there, just ink a little spot and move in. But just ending any comeback attempt before it can even start there. Not a single point was scored by Aphex. Hubmaster pulling away on that one, and now a little bit of an imbalance of the score. Hubmaster up 2-1, 1 game away from winning this one. Remember, they came from losers bracket. They had to force this bracket reset, and now Aphex are the ones on the back foot, and I'm sure they are sweating bullets.
I was gonna say, like, now I can see why they wanted to ban Clan Blitz, because Hubmaster was very much the masters of that game. Just, I don't think Aphex was able to get a single clam into the basket there. Just such a good performance from Hubmaster, and just the amount of comp changes we saw from all the players in that match was just incredible, and very much a testament to Barnacle and Dime here. However, we are going to be returning to a more established map mode, and one we've seen these two teams face off before, which of course went into favor of Aphex in the last in winners finals, actually, over Hubmaster. So this could be their redemption. They got to win these next two matches to take the tournament here, but this is something that definitely plays into their strong suits.
For sure. And as much as I love to see the Gold Dynamo have its little light shined on it for a little bit, I think you need Bonk on a carbon roller or something that, yep, back to the carbon roller. Yep, that makes a lot of sense there, because it seems like they're missing a little bit of that killing power. Yes, the Dynamo is able to paint and just control so much space, but who's able to get in there and get that space for you to control? Not really much on the side of Aphex without that carbon roller, so nice to see its return here. Already, though, Aphex will be losing their juniors, so first blood will be had by Hubmaster, but still the picks going left and right now at 2v2.
Oh, and the wipeout. That's going to give them a large amount of points right there. And I think that's part of, like, you know, one of the reasons that Aphex was having trouble with tower control is, like, you know, they would lose 2 members, but then they need another member to ride the tower to get points. Not so much with zones. Like, they could lose 2 members right there, but the zone was in their favor, so that was points for them. Like, they didn't really have to do anything actively about it. But then the wipeout just kind of solidified all that, and so this is going to get into their routine, getting in their momentum going. And so once they're able to keep this going, like, all 3 of Hubmaster are just kind of stuck in the corner there as the specials come out here. That's when they start racking up the points.
Yes, and now we're seeing a little bit of a turn on his head. Aphex already down to that 40-point mark. Just trying to see if they can farm them specials here. Trip strikes are available, as they do have a bucket. Now, forgot to mention that bucket with the trip strikes is really being able to see if they can control this here. On the other side, the Zuka being invested here by who else? And now on that right side, Bonk will find Gary before they do go down here, but with control of the zone now and a penalty to be forced, it is their turn to kind of hold up this elbow.
So far, Aphex have been continually running the double splat bombs, but it's always been tough to see which weapon the splat bombs come from. I thought for sure that Junior was getting rather aggressive on that wall there, but they're going to be popping the strikes here and getting the zone flip, adding some penalty points, and kind of just stalling for time, I think, at this point. They didn't really get much space from those strikes here, but they were able to at least apply the penalty points to keep Hubmaster from getting the lead back. But now with 2 members down, that could, and the bubbler on zone absolutely is going to give them all the space that they need.
Yeah, that's just the strength of Junior there. Managing to find one with just a random bomb. Just being able to just constantly apply pressure and paint control as well is the kind of the key of what Aphex has been doing. Unfortunately, though, they go 3 players down. Just left to the bucket that is sharked out. Now, with a delayed wipe, elbow control back in Hubmaster's favor here. Can they hold on? That is the question here. Not really much penalty to kind of worry about it. Zen has almost been able to get this Booyah Bomb. Cooler being in place as well, so now giving them a little bit of insurance. 2 players fall for Aphex here. This could prove to be disasters for them. 30 down now. So much space to really be had. Bonk finds 1, yes, but with Zen with that Cooler, that Booyah Bomb will still be in play.
I say Rihanna has been consistently getting into Aphex's snipe right here, and between the range and the splash wall has been a huge thorn in their side. They are gonna just barely stop the zone, but unfortunately do lose it immediately afterward. And with 3 members down and a Kraken bearing down on them, this could potentially be game. They have 3 points left to cap the zone, but unfortunately are not able to get there in time. Hubmaster, despite all odds, comes back from the loser bracket and the reset to take Squid Junction.
Really nicely done there. From being eliminated by being knocked down to losers bracket, being eliminated from winners bracket by this very team to claw all the way back up in that game 5 on grand finals to force this bracket reset and winning in 4. very, very impressive. And to kind of beat the team on their own mode as well. Remember, they got swept on zones in the grand finals, but here in bracket reset, they did the opposite. They were able to sweep and able to win that clan blitz as really nicely done. And I want to circle back to this. They were able to kind of do so because of the adaptations they were able to make. We saw the Luna Blaster here and there. We saw that Stamper on Zen really kind of come to fruition, kind of really just become alive in these zone maps, in particular the Booyah Bomb. Just being able to create so much space was vital. On the other side, Aphex unfortunately couldn't find an answer. We saw them tweaking and playing around with their comp here and there in Barnacle and Dime, but unfortunately they were unable to find an answer.
I think that's exactly right. It was like Hellmaster saw that they weren't able to beat Aphex with their own comp, so they did they experimented. They tried some of the strategies to figure out what stuck for his Aphex. Like they were very consistent, and honestly, like they had a comp that worked. But eventually, Hellmaster became wise to the ways through 3 sets. Was able to kind of figure out their plays and then counter play them, get some either strategies or weapon comps that really directly contested what Aphex was trying to throw down, and just like you said, take them at their own map mode, take them at their own strengths, and then flip it back on their head. And I think it could be said like they had that one unfortunate DC in the last set. However, if it was just the DC that led to Hellmaster victory, you would have expected Aphex to come back and beat them in this next reset. They didn't. Like even on Zones Ramen, on the map mode that once again they were so dominant on, Hellmaster flipped it back around and was able to retake it. So I feel like it was a very well-earned win for Hellmaster right here.
For sure, an underdog run, being able to take it all. GG's to them. But with that being said, on this wonderful Saturday evening, that'll do it for us here. Before we go though, Imad, where can the beautiful people at home find you?
Well, you can find me in all the usual places at I guess Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Blue Sky, at IMadGamerII, or you can find me on the mic here at Dapple Productions over on IPL, just doing commentary like this. But yes, where can the good people find you, Rocket?
Yeah, you can find me wherever, honestly, pretty much every major organization in terms of Splatoon commentating, just randomly popping in. You might find me here and there. You'll also find me on Blue Sky at Rocket1. You will also find me as well if you're interested in lands. I will be at the upcoming H-Town, so be aware of that. Ooh. And also, I'm going to go check to see if Sig is continuing to put fireworks outside my house, because during that commentating, someone was firing off fireworks despite it being July 5th. I don't know why they're doing that, but anyways, irregardless, GG's to both teams involved, and thank you, wonderful people, for watching. That will be the it of Squid Junction 97. We will see you next time.